The Tape Never Lies Network.
The tape never lies. Tape never lies.
Starts now.
The tape never lies.
Draft Dr. Phil and the Smartest Man.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
So chase greatness and start understanding that he's gonna make everybody better.
The tape never lies.
I don't want to see your tape breakdowns if you cannot show me things that are negative about a guy that's on your current team.
Hashtag chase greatness. Hashtag take that.
Keep it 100.
Because I'll make this one more time clear. Caden Whitlow, cut it.
Keeping it 100.
He is the best quarterback I have ever scouted on tape.
The Chicago Bears select.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man at Dr. Phil. Break it down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keep it in 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the fake and anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now they're moused up like the true and now and laters. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sack strolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane.
Give me some fucking names. We have two fucking games.
Spark a play or a captain, all of the up there. The tape never lies, the truth you see. We laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a stat nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like trip sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the Smartest Man.
100.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the Smartest
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100. Down there. I don't know if that right foot actually touched the ground.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Keeping It 100 on the best four-letter network on the planet, TTNL. The tape never lies. Before we get started, like, share, subscribe, become a patron today if you haven't already. You're missing out on Draft Mob. You're going to be missing out on some other breakdowns too, I'm sure, because the Bears have been active. They have been active. They said they were going to do it, and they've been doing it. So, you know, I've heard some people have a little bit of worry. Some people are confused at what the plan is. I say, hey, just let it play out. See what happens. Not too high, not too low on it. But before we go ahead any further, let me go ahead and bring my guy out. Shane, the smartest man. Marcel.
Yo.
What up?
What's happening? You said they're active, like a Chris Foster STD, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, right out the gate.
No, that's his mom. That's his mom. You got it mistaken.
Well, he got it from his mother.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or grandmother.
Or grandmother.
Or the family beagle. Who knows? He's crazy like that.
Shane, the Bears are doing some things.
I love it, man. I was in the office this morning and I saw the Diana Rossini tweet and I'm like, oh man, that seems a little bit too good to be true. That, you know, because then I'm like, why would she specifically point out Chicago? There's got to be, you know, there's got to be some smoke where there's fire. And then I don't even think it was maybe 5-10 minutes later, Rap Sheet comes in and drops the hammer that Joe Thuney is heading to Chicago. And, you know, Shea Norling and all of these guys coming right out the gate, throwing barbs at the Bears, talking about age and, oh, you just traded for a guy that plays guard the day before. Well, breaking news, Ivan Vargas. There's two guards on every offensive line. And is it difficult? Maybe. And guess what? Joe Thuney's not moving. You play him at left guard where he's a fucking all-pro and you leave him. Jonah Jackson, guess what? You suck it up, Buttercup. You're going to be the right guard. You go over there. It is what it is. And there's no downside to this for Chicago. Everybody in Kansas City wanted to extend him.
Mhm.
They have financial issues.
Right.
A leader in the clubhouse, a leader in the locker room, a no-nonsense leader.
They were talking about the leader in the clubhouse. That's what
the alpha.
He's the alpha in the clubhouse.
Ask Creed Humphrey, who is most responsible for his success. Ask Trey Smith the same thing. They're going to give you the same answer. Yes, he's 32. He's going to be 33 in season. It doesn't matter. You need an alpha in this locker room. You heard Olin Kreutz, one of the best offensive linemen in the history of the Chicago Bears franchise, talk about you need to bring guys in that can show these guys how to prepare every day, how to be professionals. When you have a losing streak, Joe Thuney's going to step in and say, no, we're not playing fucking music. We're not putting on fucking neon lights and dancing. We're here to fucking work. We're here to get better. This is what we don't do this in Kansas. I've been in 6 Super Bowls. You guys haven't done anything.
And
you never even experienced winning season.
Do that shit in KC, right?
Yeah, he's going to have a C on his jersey day one in Chicago. No doubt.
We're talking about a two-time All-Pro. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy's
been 4, isn't it? 4? I think so. He's made the last 2 consecutive.
Two consecutive. Okay, so 4 times, the last 2 consecutive. That was my. So either way, like you're dealing with a guy that has the pedigree to walk in there day one and be like, if he don't like it, he should be allowed to say he don't like that shit. Let's go ahead and bring in our guy, DDP Draft Dr. Phil. What up, Phil?
What's up? What are we talking about? Another trade?
No,
yes, there has been a trade. You fuckers, Ivan had to take a potty break. Phil was tending to his lovely bride because she's feeling a little bit under the weather, and you guys missed the funeral that I started the show with. Can you believe it?
Logan in a field of tears.
Logan's tears are going to cause a fucking monsoon or mudslide
right. And
over there.
And if anybody else missed that, I'm probably going to play that about 6 more times tonight. So
Logan starring in Shogun.
Wait till he wakes up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I can hear as the critical drinker is reading my mind, Celine Dion.
Yeah.
Singing across the pond there.
Yeah, letting him go as he drowns.
Yes.
Could have fit on.
No, we were talking about, Phil. I mean, you and Braggs were just on with Adam Rank. Great job. Essentially the same thing, Phil. You know, it's the Thuney acquisition is bigger than I think most people even realize, because we've talked over and over and over again about this team needing an alpha. And guess what? We just got one finally.
Right.
Caleb Williams isn't there yet to be the alpha in the locker room, nor should he be as a rookie quarterback. That's the thing. You have a guy, a consummate pro, a fucking 4-time Super Bowl champ, 4-time All-Pro, that's in your locker room. That, let's be honest, he's the best player on the team. Is he not?
Certainly the most accomplished.
Yeah.
Best lineman.
Yeah, and I don't give two shits that he's 32, going to be 33 in season. It's a fantastic move. Props to Ryan Poles.
One rep.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, and it's just it's great for the Bear. Is it making them Super Bowl contenders? I'm not into any of that shit. The people are gonna rip apart Caleb Williams no matter what. Look at fucking Mark Dominic and his nonsense.
Oh my God,
tonight.
that was embarrassing.
He didn't compare himself to Michael Jordan. He said he wants to be as big as Jordan. That's what he wants. That's his goal.
He aspires to be like Mike.
He aspires to be like Mike. Yeah.
Sometimes he dreams that
they made a fucking commercial about it, Mark, you dumbass. Right? Be like Mike.
I want to be like Mike.
Fuck you, Gatorade, dummies.
Right.
This dude literally sat up there in that interview and made shit up.
Yeah.
This is the world we live in. We could just go out of our way and just make shit up.
Yeah, because he's ignorant, Phil. That's when you have guys, oh, he changed after the Notre Dame game. Guess what? I still got the fucking numbers right here from the fucking game, and they'll sit here. They sat here all season. He wasn't different. Who showed you that he wasn't? We did. We showed everybody. It's a fucking false narrative. He doesn't want to be in Chicago. He wants to be in Washington. Nope.
Okay, Bullets, you're about to get blocked.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. I think if you could pull that up, Ivan, I don't know if you could put that video up of Mark Dominic so people.
I'll look it up.
Or
Shane, I can grab it quick. I think I got it right here.
Text it to you.
Yeah. Everybody say goodbye to legit Pack fan. Bye-bye.
He was in the show. He's
good.
He was on the rank show.
He's stressed.
He's very nervous.
And now he's blocked.
I wanted him to stay.
I could unblock him, but I won't.
Give him a shot.
No.
He
came out. You missed the best opening ever, Phil. It came out fucking strong against Chris Foster.
We need some Packers fans. Is that what you're saying, Phil? Chris Foster? Fuck that guy.
Foster was here again.
Yeah. Well, Ivan's intro, he's
17th.
Like, what was your wording that you used, Ivan?
Oh, what did I say? I don't know. It was in the intro.
Oh, they're active. And I said, yes, just like a Chris Foster STD is active. Oh,
I saw patron number 1. Where is he?
Otis. He's been,
there he is.
He's been in there. Yeah.
No, he's not. We don't go Simmons. I have 2 tackles ahead of Simmons. So I wouldn't go Simmons unless we traded down.
See, that's kind of where I'm at, Phil. Like, and I was a little skeptic, prior to. Oh my God, I love it.
Holy shit!
My favorite person on this network is here. But give me 1 second. I'm all for it. I used to not be for it. Like about right after the season ended, I was thinking maybe they would just stay pat, take the best O lineman or best D lineman. But now, if they're able to go ahead and bring in a guy like Josh Sweat, now you could go ahead and be flexible with that number 10 pick. And there's going to be a lot of people that want to jump up and try to grab one of these guys sitting there at 10. Think about a team like Dallas that might want to move up a couple spots. You think about a team that maybe could afford to grab a running back like a Genti and want to move up. I don't know. There's things that could play out, but I'm very happy about how they're going about it. They just need to keep the pedal to the metal. Go after everybody and don't be shy about it.
Breaking news. The Tape Never Lies Network. Breaking news.
Oh my fucking God.
Look at this guy.
Oh my God. Let me get some of the mess of this house hidden behind. There we go.
Hidden clutter.
Oh my God.
There's a clutter pile.
He's got room on that wall back there for a Joe Thuney jersey.
Is that a bottle of Nutella behind you as well, Shane?
I think that is actually kids' morning vitamins as we deal with zero upstairs space while the kitchen gets redone. So, you know, we make do.
What's up, Cars? How are you?
Dude, I'm good. It's nice to have some actual football talk and some good positive things happen, and it's exciting to wake up today and be like, this was not anywhere on my cards of one of the things that we are going to get. So it's a good day.
Yeah, it was a complete wild card, but it's the way you build a football team. Went on Patreon pop-up, talked about how big this move is. Anybody complaining about it is pathetic. The draft capital that was given up is 20% shot of getting a guy of equal caliber to what he is or has been. I'm talking about Joe Thuney. And it's zero shot of that same draft pick next year coming in and leaving a mark on the culture of the locker room, winning and going to work as a professional each and every day, teaching these young bucks how it needs to be taught. Those things trump any draft capital. Talk about that.
We have a leader, and I think you really nailed the head on that. Like, one of the things that we heard last year is kind of who runs the offensive line room, who talks the most, who kind of sets the tone. And Ryan Bates is like, well, I've never been that guy, but I can kind of look into it if I need to, and Darnell's too young and Tevin is too injury prone and Braxton is Braxton, right? Like he is what he is. You need someone to set the tone, much like Olin, right? And when you have someone that has the history like this, that has the tape, right? That has what he did in New England, has what he did in Kansas City. Let's be real. Kansas City, in any other world, if they didn't have Trey Smith, is keeping Joe Thuney and extending
100%.
him right at this moment. And so for this to happen and you get a couple more years in here, and to your point, I think one of the most overrated things to Bears fans and certain Bears media folks is late round draft picks. It's the old Family Guy, right? I could either get a boat or I can get what's in the box. What's in the box could be a boat, but it could be also, steaming pile of dog shit, and we don't care either way. So when you get someone to set the tone who doesn't miss games, who's a leader, who's won 2 different championships, or 2 championships with 2 different teams, I just don't know how you pass this up.
Yeah, I think one other thing. Yeah, I don't think Jonah Jackson should be overlooked. As I said, to rank, guard again is way different than offensive tackle, whether you be left or right. You're just going to ask Joe Thuney, where do you want to play? Okay, Jackson goes to the other side. That's how you handle that, and you handle it in regards to being the building blocks of your future behind them, protecting Caleb Williams, doing everything the opposite of what was done in the past with Ryan and Pace before him and Matt Nagy. than Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. Just everything outside in. Now you're building inside out, and you're protecting the asset that is that helmet autograph behind you. That's the most important thing. And Shane talked about that last draft and all off season and leading up to here is where you need to build this football team. And there's zero worries about right or left guard. He's not. Shea Snorling, I literally was so embarrassed by the Chicago. Like, let a producer produce. No offense to Ivan here, but Ivan has 500 times the football acumen as Snor. I don't know if you heard it this morning, but
What do you mean, no offense to me? I don't know what that.
Because you're a producer.
I was actually who's
Snorling
Ivan?
just
I don't
needs
even
to
know who
step
that
back
is.
and produce.
I'm a jack of all trades here, Phil. All right?
No.
But Phil,
it was embarrassing, Cars.
It's even more funny at the fact that this guy went out and played left tackle, which is the most difficult position in all of sports. And who cares? He's going to be left guard, right? But if they move him to right guard, you're telling me the guy that can play left guard at an all-pro level, that could play left tackle extremely well, is going to be like, oh, but right guard's where I draw the line? Like,
well, that's the thing. When Shea poo-pooed the trade immediately, he's like, you just traded for a left guard yesterday. In what world does this make any sense? I don't know. Because it's Joe fucking Thuney. I mean,
exactly.
It makes no fucking sense at all.
I've never got that heated. Like I was.
Yeah, the Bulls just traded for Charles Barkley. Norling's like, they got Ed Neely. What the fuck are we doing here?
Hey, you can't besmirch Ed Neely, all right? The great white hope that he was.
Listen, Jonah Jackson, familiarity with Ben Johnson's offensive
situations matter, man. It didn't work in LA.
Exactly. Well, he got hurt, and I said this to Rank and Greg. He got hurt. You're an offense and an offensive guru over there with the Rams. Then you have your replacement. You're out 6 weeks, and the replacement steps up to the challenge. No real offensive coach is going to say, all right, let's bring only the Bears do that shit. Oh, we pay this guy a lot of money. Let's fuck up with the whole cohesiveness we've just built over the season and put our guy that we pay. It just happens like that sometimes. It's no shot at Jackson, but if you pop on Jackson's tape against when he was with Ben Johnson in Detroit, he's out there pulling, getting out in front of you and knocking people down. He's pin and pull. He's down block, his zone block. Everything you want to see in a guard, he's doing. And I have
extremely right. Great size for traitsy. And that's what you're looking for. That's exactly what you're looking for.
So I like the comment from Nino's. It's you're right. There needs to be a contingency plan with a guy like Jonah Jackson. I feel like because of the injury history, you don't want to go ahead and
only been injured once.
Yeah, but still, you still don't want to be able to run.
Then Bill Murray.
But then how is Tevin contingency?
I don't agree with Tevin. I'm not saying Tevin is. I'm saying they could still go ahead and draft. I was going to talk before you guys jumped in. I was going to say, hey, Ninos,
get to the point, Ivan. Get to the point.
I think
Come
that
on.
Tevin is not the right choice. I think that you need to go ahead and draft another guard, and that will be your contingency plan.
I'm a big fan of Bill Murray. I really am. But go ahead. Sorry,
loved his work in the Ghostbusters franchise. It was fantastic. No, look, I think you're right, and I think they're gonna look at that for sure. You know, as much as we love Tevin and when healthy and when his mind is right, the fact that it's both of those things, when that probably take him out of that equation. I think they would be to be frank, I think it would be a concern with him just mentally if you came in and said you're going to be our, first offensive lineman off the bench. If something goes wrong, I would be concerned mentally from everything that we've seen. whether that would be the case. So, but yeah, absolutely. Like Bill Murray's coming back. There's going to be some other names. It's not going to preclude someone, but all it does is it prevents a reach at number 10. That's all
Sure.
these two moves absolutely
You're not
do.
boxed into a corner, and that's exactly where you do not want to be in any drafts.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah, and
not let's get Booker at 10 guy at all. I don't think Booker.
No. I don't think offensive guard is in play.
No, I'm
at
just
10
saying
at all,
Booker
yeah.
at all. Booker, I'll
Yeah.
show the tape to our patrons coming up. Booker has a lot of warts that I don't like. There's talent there.
I think he's got to get in, like most Alabama offensive linemen, he's got to get in better shape. A lot
He
of those
is-
guys get sloppy, but yeah,
He's nowhere near your boy Zabel. I'll tell you that.
So Keith Riggle says only 40 million in cap now. And again, this is the only 40 million. 40 million is nothing to, cry about. The Bears can push that to 70 in the snap of a finger with a simple restructure of DJ Moore and Montez Sweat. Yeah, and it doesn't matter at all.
We needed that cap space to sign offensive linemen. So we now have two pretty good ones there to go. So I think, there's only that. I always hate the use of the word only. It's like, oh, this house is only 450,000. Yeah, that's great. That means a whole heck of a lot. It doesn't matter. If it's not going to preclude you from signing any player, it's not going to prevent you from doing anything. And at 10 right now, if I was taking betting money, I think that Tyler Warren is one of the top people that they're going to be looking at that position, more so than Genty.
Wow.
I think it's going to be Tyler Warren is going to get a bigger look, because as much as Kmet has done stuff, you need something more out of that position.
Oh my God. I've been the biggest Cole Kmet is soft and disappointing. Last year was a showcase of that. That's what I was afraid of. Get paid, get lazy type of persona. I hope that's not the case as he moves in to the next season, but you're 100% right. Even in Ben Johnson's offense, you're going to need some stellar stem separation type of receiving at the tight end position. Cole Kmet is not twitchy at the stem. And when you couple that with being lazy or rounding your routes, it's just not going to freaking survive with a real coach. And I can tell you right now, you're right. I would be shocked if it's him, the tight end.
I would be too at 10. Yeah, I feel like they can't do that. And
would you be interested in a trade for Mayer?
Yeah, depending on what you could do. But I don't look at Ty Warren as the twitchy tight end guy that we need.
He is very twitchy.
But he not at 10. I can't do it at 10.
I think Brock Bowers and his impact in that, and understanding he's not necessarily the same athlete as Brock, and Brock is probably much closer overall to
have taken last year.
But I think what the reason I look at Warren is one of the things that we like about Ben's offense is look at the way that he's used Laporta. Look at the way that he's used St. Brown, right? He likes guys that have multiple different uses. You can put him in the backfield. That's not something that you can do with Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet's a line guy, occasional slot guy. Warren kind of gives you a lot more looks. He's a lot more of a chess piece. And if you look at of all the skill position players out there, you're not really going to look at wide receiver. You need more chess pieces. And it wouldn't shock me if it's Genty, but it really wouldn't shock me if it's a tight end, because he's going to open up so much more in that passing game, much like Laporta did 2 years ago, and Hawkinson did for Sam Darnold, right? That's a big change.
Did you guys see the Albert Breer blurb about the Bears and what they could be doing at number 10 today? And he brought up a name that obviously nobody has connected to Chicago in a position. I hadn't heard anybody talk, and I can't see it myself. Adam Rank actually brought it up tonight. That position as like a stunner at number 10, and Albert Breer gave a name and the position at number 10 as a sleeper pick for the Bears at 10, and it was the corner from Texas, Brown.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, no
Aaron?
fucking way.
You can't.
Yeah, there's
you
no
can't do
way.
that.
Oh my
I
God.
would, yeah.
If you're
I'd lose
taking
my
a
mind.
defensive back, you're taking my guy from fucking South Carolina.
Yeah, but
You're not taking a defensive I understand best player available.
yeah,
but in no realm that's your best position on the team.
yeah. How is it? Is it? It's
Jahdae
Jahdae Barron. Yeah,
Barron.
yeah. I said Brown. Yeah, my bad. But yeah,
Sorry,
but I just thought it was funny that Albert Breer brought up a specific name like that. It's like
they must like him a lot if Breer is talking. Speaking about liking people a lot, Shane.
Yeah.
This
Love
guy.
everything about this guy, but his college football team.
I don't know why with that hat. I don't understand.
Let's bring this guy out. You know him from 670 The Score as well as Marquee Sports. He also had some great news for the Atoshan household. If it's true, let's bring him out. Chris Emma.
Bears fans, you probably know this guy as a reporter
unfortunately for the Bears,
for 670 The Score and 670thescore.com.
Just win, baby.
And also with his new gig as a contributor to the Marquee Sports Network.
I'm doing good. I'm happy.
But guess what? He's back here tonight on TTNL to talk about the most exciting Chicago Bears offseason of them all.
When you see all the things that come with Caleb Williams.
Bears fans, TTNL fans, stand up and give it up for Chris Emma.
See that, Chris? I got the pictures of us in there.
I love that. Love that intro. What's up? How we doing, guys?
What's going on, Chris? Good to see you.
Great
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you.
me.
Start us off with the news that you broke the possibility of Khalil Mack wanting to come back and be a Chicago Bear.
Yeah, I should preface it a little bit. You know, what I'm saying and what I believe based on talking to a number of people is that he would have interest in coming back. Look, it's complicated when you get traded away like that and you spend 4 years in a city like Khalil did in Chicago. And you wonder, you know, if all things are equal, if the Bears are putting a good offer out there, if he'd have intrigue in coming back. And my understanding is, yeah, you know, he loved the Bears. He loved Chicago. He loved being a part of this organization. Still knows, you know, a ton of people within. I know the roster has been turned over quite a bit, but my understanding is he'd absolutely be open to it. Now, one thing with Mac is like, he's not a guy who loves the spotlight. Like, he doesn't want to be that star. He doesn't have to be if he signs at this point. He'd be, you know, a complimentary piece, a guy who's a key role player on this defense, obviously, and a guy who's going to be relied upon plenty, but he's not going to be the guy for this team anymore. And I think he'd welcome that. And you know who else would welcome that along the same line is Montez Sweat, a guy who similarly does not want to be a superstar, does not love that spotlight. I think they would pair really well together as a tandem. Obviously, you're looking at a lot of other guys as well to deepen that pass rush, but we'll see. I've still not gotten a sense whether the Bears are open to it. You know, Ryan Poles traded Khalil Mack away, and it's not that obviously we know what it was signaling. It was the start of a rebuild. I think there should be openness to it, and I think it also fits in terms of contractually. You can do a 2-year deal, build it within Caleb Williams' rookie contract now, where you're not sacrificing yourself with the cap space long term, and it just makes a ton of sense. I think it's really just a reunion that would really fit well for both sides.
And Dennis Allen has that history with
Oh
him.
man, and we get Ladarius Mack back on the practice squad. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
We could do the watch where we see all the times he's promoted and demoted again.
Yeah,
This
right.
would be great.
That won't happen again, Shane.
The
Chris,
Bradley
today-
Soul Award.
Yeah.
Come on.
Today, obviously, let's jump into this big news. I don't think any of us really saw coming down the pipeline. Maybe you did, but talk about Joe Thuney acquisition, and kind of were you caught off guard like we were?
I was, if you said they were trading for a Chiefs offensive lineman, I would have thought it'd be Trey Smith. Like, my understanding as of last week was that they had strong interest in bringing in Trey Smith as a free agent. And once the tag was placed, I that wasn't done. Like, you knew there was some corresponding move. We saw the Chiefs last year with L'Jarius Sneed when they tagged him ultimately to trade him. And Brett Veach made it clear they wanted to retain Trey Smith, but they also have a ton of other priorities on their roster and on the books. So something had to give. So, when things came out today, I thought at first it was going to be Trey Smith. It just makes a ton of sense. And credit to the Bears, because clearly this is Ryan Poles doing his due diligence. Obviously, he knows a ton of people in Kansas City, including Brett Veach, but like, he stayed on this one. He wanted Trey Smith. They really had a strong conviction, and obviously he followed this to the rim. Okay, if you guys are really committed to him, what's next? Who's going to be out there? Like, I'm sure that the Chiefs shopped Thuney a bit to see what's out there, but ultimately the Bears wanted to make this move. They brought this thing home and got it done. It's a great deal for the Bears, and man, this O-line looks a lot different now in the span of 36 hours compared to what it was start of the week. So you feel really good about what's going now.
It goes along with what Ben Johnson said, and I always say arrogance or confidence and transparency are the key to being a young head coach and going out there and setting the tone. He came out, I don't remember who asked him, but can you turn this offensive line around in a year? Do you think that? And it was with a rhetorical tone of no, you can't, by the reporter, you could say. And Ben said, yes, I believe you can. And he pointed out the Carolina Panthers and what they had done. And that was a moment for me saying, this dude gets it, and he's not afraid to put his name to it. And look what he does. As you said, in 36 hours, he gets a 4-time Super Bowl champion, 4 rings he could drop on the table. And he's a 2-time All-Pro, which that weighs heavy because you have none. And then you get a guy that's going to be the alpha in the locker room because he steps in and has already done it. And that, to me, along with Jackson, everyone's sleeping on Jackson, but knowing Ben's offense and being in it as well as how he performed in it. And we talked earlier before you were here about what transpired in LA, but those two pieces set up very well for the Chicago Bears moving forward in 36 hours before free agency even begins.
Yeah, look, I mean, there was a lot of talk when Ben Johnson came in about what's his say going to be on personnel. What's he going to bring to the table in this? And God, that's their first move, their first big move of the offseason. And it's so clear that's a Ben Johnson move, is going to get Jonah Jackson. Yeah. I love this. Like, consider the fact, like, it's a good trade. Obviously, it makes a ton of sense. But like, they could have just said it. Like, it shows the conviction they had. They could have waited for free agency, gone for just about anybody else. Like, they felt that strongly about Jonah Jackson to make this move. I'm excited to see what else comes in free agency on the open market, because clearly Ben Johnson is going to be strong. And look, Ryan Poles over 3 years has done a quality job overturning this roster, but it's been a ton of missteps. There's been a ton of mistakes. And it's why this thing didn't accelerate the way that they wanted to. The best thing Ryan Poles could have by his side is a new voice, a different voice like Ben Johnson, who's going to really be driving decisions in a different light. And to Ryan Poles' credit, like, he's not an arrogant guy. Like, he's willing to be open-minded. He's willing to listen to everybody. And we've heard about these stories on draft night where, he's invited the scouts into the room and letting them make a case. Like, he's really willing to listen to other opinions. And obviously, Ben's voice is going to be very strong and prominent in a lot of these decisions. That's great news for the Bears. I'm excited to see kind of how this roster takes shape through Ben's vision, because it's clear he's going to have a really strong, prominent spot at the table.
Chris, when obviously everything that's happened so far, do you think that they continue on the offensive line? I don't know. Drew Dahlman's been a name that's been out there. I know Phil and I have talked about it. It's, you're going to be playing next to a guy like Joe Thuney and having Jonah Jackson on the other side. But I got to be honest, I don't love the thoughts of investing $18 million into a guy like Drew Dahlman. I know it's just money and you're not investing a draft pick, but I think he's probably overall a middle tier center, which is an upgrade for Chicago. But do you think that that's something that they're going to be actively involved in, or do you think that they're going to kind of change their blueprint a little bit and focus somewhere else?
Yeah, I do think they're going to be involved in Drew Dahlman. I think they're going to be strongly pursuing him. And look, he fits the mold, right? 26 years old, played at a high level. I know last season didn't go well, played 4 games, injury set him back, all that stuff. But Bears seem to feel really strongly about him, and he's going to be that guy who gets one of those big center deals now. We saw Creed Humphrey reset that market. Dahlman's not going to get Creed Humphrey money, but he's going to get a lot of money out of this. And the Bears seem to have a really strong belief. You got both guard positions filled now with Thuney and then with Jackson. I think that's your interior now. It's pulling in Drew Dahlman in as well. Obviously, Darnell Wright at the right tackle spot. And then the left tackle spot, I think they're plenty comfortable coming back with Braxton Jones as a starter. But if one of those tackles is there on the board at 10, they got to feel really strongly. Suddenly, that's your new starting left tackle, or maybe there's a competition of sorts. But I think they're focused on the interior at this point. 2 positions down. You got that center spot to fill. I think Dahlman's going to be that guy.
So just to play off of that, Chris, sorry to butt in here, Phil, but like with Braxton, there's a lot of talk out there that he may not even be available until training camp, or maybe even into training camp. Do you think that plays into it quite a bit on how they attack this?
I don't know. I mean, guy's been a 3-year starter, really smart guy. I don't think there's any concern. Obviously, there's a lot to pick up with the offense and a lot of newness there, but I think they're plenty comfortable with that. And I mean, look, things can change, right? If by some miracle Ronnie Stanley's market does not go well, maybe you start poking around there. You're looking different ways next week, but I just don't see it. I think they're keeping tackle spot with Braxton Jones penciled in as the starter, and you're looking to the number 10 pick with an option there.
Yeah, if Kelvin Banks Jr. is there at 10, I would be, if this is how they set up in free, they don't do anything else in free agency. They go
just
deep.
Set it up, Phil, because you're including that in Will Campbell. You're putting him, and that's important.
Yeah, Will Campbell will be at 1B. I have Kelvin Banks number 1 tackle in this draft, and I've looked at all the tackles. I know a lot of people are now jumping on, and I like the player from Missouri, but what Banks is at 20 years old athletically, and how he sets and anchors and his footwork. I mean, his feet, him and Campbell are on another level. We have not seen this kind of athlete with this kind of feet. Maybe Kyle Long was as athletic coming out of Oregon, but he was so raw. Banks is 20 years old, and now you put him next to a guy like Thuney. Think about the GM, the coach looking at, okay, who's better to teach Banks moving forward than this? I mean, that's a huge upgrade to Braxton Jones. This tackle class is an upgrade to Braxton Jones, to your point. So it could be a trade down. But I think tackle is a huge need for the Chicago left tackle. I'm saying I love Darnell Wright, but that's a huge need for the Chicago Bears. And I disagree. I would be concerned with a guy coming off an injury who also has a tendency to get bullied too much. So that doesn't give me confidence with him moving forward. But as a swing guy, I'm okay with it. And then you have Amagaji, who I felt like was put in an unfair situation, Chris. He was injured coming in, and then all of a sudden he's thrust in against the Commanders, and everyone's bagging on the poor kid, but he didn't even get a rep, and it's been out at Yale as well. So talk about that. Is there a possibility left tackle draft?
I forgot he played in that Commanders game, because you might remember there's a lot that went into that game. Last week of the NFL Combine, they had all the TVs on NFL Network, and that game was on. They were replaying it like in the media room, in the Combine televisions, and I just kind of took a peek at, and the Bears were losing, and they're like, here comes Karan Amagati. I'm like, holy crap, he played in that game? Like, that was his debut, and I forgot that everybody went down to the old line. It was just a mishmash of guys. You had Bill Murray in there for a minute, and it was a disaster. You feel for the kid, and when you think about him now, you think about Monday night in Minneapolis and him just getting bulldozed. It was completely unfair. I still not quite getting a sense of how that decision came to be, but it was a horrible decision. This kid was not ready to play. You shouldn't be taking developmental guys in the third round. That's another issue here, but he needs time, and he just was not at all ready. You mentioned the injury, the quad going into missing the offseason program, missing part of training camp. He just was not set to be that guy. So don't write him off. Not you guys. I mean, like the general public. Don't write this kid off. I mean, he could still be really talented. I'm excited to see how he's coached now. He's got a new offensive line coach, got a lot going on around him to help him out. Veteran presences as well to really kind of help guide him forward. Maybe he's got a chance. And when you talk about that left tackle equation, if Braxton comes back, he's penciling as the starter. You want to see Karan push him a little bit more. If you're not drafting somebody, it'd be nice to think he's kind of on Braxton's heels and you got something to think about moving forward. But don't write the kid off yet. He had a tough rookie season under outrageous circumstances, and he should have never been out there that Monday night in Minneapolis.
To carry on to that,
go ahead.
I know it's still early, but the way that season ended and the way that a dumpster fire of a coaching staff that looked at the very end, all this hope, look at all these, and it looked finally when we got to that last game, no one had any idea of what was happening anywhere in that building. So knowing that it's still early, are you getting any sense of there's a lot more structure, there's a lot more understanding, there's a lot more it felt like it was pulling, pray and spray last year, where this seems to be a little bit more almost methodical. Is that the sense that you're getting still?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, last week in the combine, so you run into a ton of people, and I've covered the Bears now for 10 years. There's tons of current coaches, but also tons of former coaches, former executives, people you got to know around the league. You run into so many people. You walk from hotel to dinner and you see 3 different people that you've covered or worked with in the years. And, just talk with so many different people. There's an overwhelming strong feeling about Ben Johnson and what he's brought to the table. And this guy is so respected around the league, even though he's only been in the league and a rising assistant for a handful of years and with a couple of just different teams. There's a really strong respect for what he has brought to the Bears, and both himself individually and also the staff around him. This is a really highly regarded group. I had so many people say, man, Dennis Allen's going to be great. That dude's so respected around the league. Countless assistants. Declan Doyle, obviously, 28 years old. You wouldn't think many people knew about him. People raving about him. Everywhere I go, everybody I talk to, whether it's people, former Bears assistants, assistants or executives around the league, agents, plenty of agents. You talk to so many people down in Indianapolis, and it was just, you got a sense that the Bears have something new. And my goodness, we're coming off the most miserable season in Bears history. One of the, certainly up there. It was outrageous. It was horrible to watch this thing. And God, you mentioned that stretch run, just desperate for that season to be over with and get to consequence at the finish line. It's funny how different it feels now in just the span of a couple months. We're 2 months removed from the finale in Green Bay. It feels like this is an entirely different organization right now. That starts with Ben Johnson, obviously the coaching staff he compiled, and more so just the firmness from the top down at Hallis Hall, paying Ben Johnson a ton of money. Everything you need to do to get the guys around him, and now to build this roster. And it feels like something new is beginning again for the Bears.
So we didn't get that with Bill Lazor, I guess. It wasn't the same when Bill Lazor was the OC or Mark Helfrich. Okay.
I mean, something like that.
If we look at the other side of the ball, one of the guys that I've been pounding the table for the Bears to be involved in, and I know there's been a lot of talk about New England and Carolina throwing the bag at him. I'm looking at the interior of the defensive line, which I don't think gets talked about enough in Chicago. I mean, Javon Dexter really hasn't lived up to the expectations so far. Andrew Billings, had a career year until he got hurt. But Milton Williams, Have you heard anything there connecting Chicago potentially for the interior of their line, or do you think that they're focused more on the outside?
I think they're focused on both. I've not heard any names specifically when it comes to the interior yet. But you're right, man. Like, and they need to upgrade the interior. And Jermon Dexter's a guy. I was beating the drum all last year, saying he's going to have a breakout year. He showed up in the proverbial best shape of his life, kind of deal. And it kind of added conviction to what we thought. That he needed the rookie year to develop, to understand the defense, everything that was there for him. I thought he was going to be a monster last year, and he was good. Like, he didn't disappoint, but you wanted more. Like, I thought he was going to have a complete breakout year. So, like, if he's heard 3 technique, fine. Like, I'm okay with that. But I would like to see them really get aggressive and look into that position. And I'm sure Dennis Allen wants that. Like, I'm curious what his evaluation is on Jermon Dexter. We got to talk with Ben Johnson right after he got hired, and he was talking about the defense. And he was going all down the line talking about just about every player, but he was more focused on the backers, Edmonds and Edwards, and then the secondary, raved about Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson. There wasn't a lot of talk. He talked about Andrew Billings, too. He gave some appreciation and love for Big Bill, but he wasn't running down the line of defensive linemen of this guy and that guy. They need quality depth there. Ryan Poles mentioned it unsolicited. Like, he said, you watch that last game of the season and see the team that won that game, defensive line depth on display. You cannot have enough of those guys. People think pass rushers, like it's a sexy thing off the edge and you're getting all the sacks, double digits and what. You need that guy in the middle to eat things up and to really be a dominant, disruptive force. And I hope the Bears see that as a priority. I'm sure they do.
It's going to be a big one. I mean, there's a lot of free agent names out there. And again, like you said, pass rushers get a lot of the glory. Jonathan Allen from the Commanders might get released. Milton Williams, a guy that I've always loved, that Maurice Hurst in Cleveland, always a penetrating 3. There's so many defensive tackles that are going to be in free agency, you'll see, but it's definitely a need for the Chicago Bears because he missed on the kid from South Carolina. He hasn't panned out, and you were hoping he would. I thought he was going to be better.
Zach Pickens.
Pickens. I thought he was going to be better than Dexter. And Dexter actually had showed me a lot. The injury set him back. I thought he played pretty good, Dexter, last year. But wasn't down the stretch. But it's a huge need here. Let me ask you in regards to pass rusher. Obviously, Khalil Mack out there. Is there an opportunity? Do you see or have heard anything about Chase Young reunited with Dennis Allen? Is this a position that the Bears draft at number 10 with Stewart and Mikael Williams from Georgia and Texas A&M?
I think it's possible. Yeah. Look, Ryan Poles was asked in particular, I think, about edge rushers. Are you comfortable signing one and then drafting one? It's like, yeah. And that's where he mentioned, like, the Eagles. Like, can't have enough of those guys. So they're going to be signing, I think, multiple edge rushers in free agency. Like, big-time guy, whether it's Mack or Josh Sweat, whoever it is, and then somebody down is, a rotational guy. And they're going to look to bolster it that way. I obviously a lot of hope they can develop Austin Booker as well, get him to have a strong second season. That's where a guy like Mack obviously would be ideal. Is the idea of developing, but they still believe in him. I know it wasn't the stellar rookie season everybody was hoping for, but they certainly believe in the kid. So you're going to have a lot of these guys. I think everything's on the table with pass rushers, and they're going to be adding a bunch this offseason through free agency and the draft.
Were you I don't want to say taken by surprise, but I was a little surprised that they didn't tender Sanborn an offer it's not a lot of money. Were you surprised by that? Obviously Dennis Allen looked at him and probably doesn't fit the profile of what he wants at linebacker, but were you a little bit surprised by that?
We've got an understanding through Ryan Poles, the way he operates, and also kind of the human side. I get this sense that was one of those things where Ryan Poles is saying, we'd love to have you back. You can probably do well in the open market. You can get a starting role, and you deserve that. I'm willing to bet that's Ryan Poles doing right by a guy like Jack Sanborn and saying, go get paid. Maybe if it doesn't work, you can sign him back on a different deal. But I get the sense that that's the Bears' understanding. You should be a starter. We've committed to 2 guys who we really like and believe in, and they're set here. So go get yours. And I think that's probably what it came down to.
Yeah, is this a move to get him at a cheaper deal type of thing where they don't want to give him that restricted contract and they bring him back under a different lower contract?
It could be. Yeah, I mean, we know he's a local kid. He loves the Bears. He loves being part of it. I think it's very possible that he could be back with the Bears, but I think it's also possible he lands somewhere else and gets a good offer, a good opportunity, and he gets to be a starter somewhere. So he's earned it. Like, I remember seeing that kid in rookie mini camp, and he was checking all the boxes, looked really impressive. Heck, I remember talking to him at the combine a couple years ago and how excited he was to about the idea of being a Bear, just having it posed to him. So I know it meant a lot to him to be part of this organization. I'm sure he would love to be back if there's some way to make it happen. That I'll put it this way. I don't think the Bears were uninterested in Jack Sanborn. I think they're letting him kind of test things out, see what's out there, and maybe he does come back after all.
It's interesting.
I was the guy that only played 20% of the snaps, right? Like he was Dennis Allen doesn't use a whole lot of 3 linebacker looks. Even, we did that as a base. Dennis Allen doesn't really do that much at all. So I think that factors in heavily.
Let me ask you this: with a guy like Tremaine Edmonds, who had a difficult season, it wasn't very good. He has a big cap number. Is there an opportunity where he restructures? Is there talk about him in regards to this team moving forward? Have you heard anything?
It's a good question. It would make sense. I don't know at this point. Yeah, I think it would certainly fit for the Bears. He'd have lots of play. He's gonna have lots of play for a period this year. I mean, it's not been exactly what they were hoping for. He's been good. He's had some moments, but he's not. I expected a lot more of him, and I talked with people in Buffalo. It's the same thing. Everybody kind of said good player, good leader, but you expected more. He's never quite been drafted. The guy's drafted first round and seemed to be like a phenom type prospect. Good to very good player. Never has been great. I don't know if he's ever going to be great. Certainly when you transition from a guy like Roquan Smith, and I don't know if it's fair to say you wanted Tremaine Edmonds to be Roquan Smith, but that's kind of the way it was built. It hasn't produced what you hoped at this point.
Chris, you talked about being at the combine. Did you get to do anything at Starbucks and throw down with anybody there?
Dude, I went to that Starbucks a lot. I'm a big Starbucks guy. The day after, that was Wednesday night, I think all that came out. That Thursday I went there, and there's a lot more people there. Somebody was like, does it feel like this is a lot more crowded here? I don't know what people were expecting or whatnot, but that was interesting. Journalistically, I'm kind of fascinated by the dynamic there. If you kind of go between the lines on the way it was reported, who works for whom, how some of these things kind of develop from a journalist standpoint. I don't know. I still haven't quite decided which side I'm on, but it made for an interesting combine week and a lot of jokes. So, my text was blowing up on that afterwards. Who you fighting at Starbucks? What the Bears beat you want to go out like that? There's a lot being texted about. It made for some fun dinner combo too.
Chris Emma versus Greg Braggs at Starbucks.
No.
Braggs he's got bad knees, so
they both love Notre Dame.
First of all, I'm Team Braggs all the way. I can never go after Braggs. I can form my short list maybe for Starbucks foes, but it won't be Braggs.
Love that.
So you're saying there's not an underground NFL. You're saying there's not an underground NFL media fight club that we just haven't been made privy to yet.
What's the first rule of Fight Club? You don't talk about Fight Club.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
What's your go-to drink at Starbucks since you're a Starbucks guy?
I'm the psychopath who gets cold brews year round, even when it's freezing. I'll get the style, the hand warmer to for the hot coffee and put it on a cold brew. So I'll go venti cold brew. I had way too many of those last week. Got to get through it. How my week's wild, man. you're up early for these prospects. Things start like 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and you're out really damn late because the whole league's out, and you kind of like. There's a lot of information being passed around, a lot of people you're catching up with. Certainly, far too many beers. Like, so like
A lot of
you just
drunk
get back at
coaches.
the end of the week just on fumes, and yeah, and so yeah, powered through a lot of days just straight up cold brew, and yeah, it was good to get home.
Have you heard about the Dan Weeder Larry Mayer beef? we have video evidence of it. Check this out.
Oh my fucking God. Your lunch with Larry.
Every time I see Larry Danier, I do the exact Pernell McPhee voice. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Larry time too at the combine as well, which is always wonderful.
Was there any standout for you as far as the combine was concerned? Is there somebody that character-wise just carried themselves in a different way?
I mean, I kind of sold myself in the idea of Mason Graham, and like we were talking about the 3 technique.
Yeah,
he probably won't be there at 10, but look, like teams are going to overlook him and overthink him. Like he's undersized. He's not this big bulldozer when you see him in person. I'd see TTNL right back there. The tape never lies, and teams are going to forget about the tape because of measurables and whatever other crap's out there. Just forget he's a really damn good football player. And like Daniel Jeremiah talked about this really well, saying like he saw this kid in person and thought maybe he had him way too high on his board. And then he saw him play and he's like, yep, just forget all that. Like
football player,
leverage. And like and he mentioned it's the wrestling background. Like, this kid he plays football in the trenches like he's a wrestler. I think he's got the highest floor of anybody high in this draft, like anybody in the first round. Teams are going to overthink this. Like he should go top 5, no question. Like anybody could use him, but some teams are going to fall a different direction with him. Think maybe we should go tackle instead, or get this specimen of an edge rusher, and it just doesn't make sense. There's going to be the play of quarterbacks. I don't know. Weird stuff happens. Like a year ago, nobody's talking about Michael Penix going right before the Bears pick. So keep an eye on that. If there's a guy who's going to fall and under without reason, it's going to be Mason Graham. I think he'd be terrific for the Bears. When we talk about how badly they want to fill that 3 technique spot and really address that defensive front, I know he's not the pass rusher off the edge. I know he's not your franchise tackle. He's going to be a really damn good football player for 10 years for this team if you're lucky to get that guy. So I kind of became enamored with that idea. And it might be a long shot, but weird stuff happens in the draft. So keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, because it could be like the news reports were a lot about Jackson Dart and how well he performed and how well he looked. And that's one of those things like that could be your next, right? All of a sudden, Michael Penix or Bo Nix all of a sudden popping in at
Shane and I talked.
Jets.
Shane and I talked about Jackson Dart. That's my number 1 quarterback in the draft, and that was well before the combine and all that. I just like him more than I wouldn't touch. Thank God we got Caleb Williams. Like, imagine if you're looking for a quarterback now. It's crazy to me. I wouldn't touch Shedeur Sanders in the first round at all. I wouldn't touch that kid.
As Bears fans, hype up all the quarterbacks. Talk about how great Shedeur is going to be, and Cam Ward's going to be the next superstar. And oh my God, Dart looks incredible. He's going to be like the best quarter. Like hype them all up. Find guys who are 3rd, 4th round guys and throw them up there to the first round. Like it'd be a great thing for the Bears if you get this run on quarterbacks early on, where teams are desperately reaching and hoping they get that guy. And heck, maybe last year's draft's going to be some influence for this, where nobody was talking about Bo Nix being prominent rookie. Yeah, like pile them all up, get them all in the top 9, and see who falls to you at 10. It'd be a great thing for the Bears.
I would take Shedeur in the top 5. What am I talking about?
There you go. Pump it up. Wouldn't it be nice if like Ryan Poles was the guy leaking this, like national reporters like, man, I hear Jackson Dart's going to be going to the top 5. Like, get that rat race going for all these teams that desperately need their quarterback. And there's Mason Graham at 10. All right, like sign me up. I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah,
I agree with you. And that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. There's some players that the tape never lies. And also you answered with the energy. Somebody that's going to stand at the podium and give off those vibes that Cars does. You just want to be around them. You want them to be teaching you. And that's what this kid brings to the table. There's no doubt. I know someone was in the chat saying the other defensive tackle is better than him, but no. Grant, he is a legit 3-technique dominator. Shane is setting it up here. I'll set up the question for you. And Shane could then piggyback off me and set up this thing. But I've watched a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, and especially with Chicago. And I'm going to ask you, have you ever seen a quarterback that broke rookie records, franchise records, handled himself in the utter chaos that was the culture and coaching of the Chicago Bears, on top of the offensive line talent in front of him, and get hammered the way he does? And we say this because the tape doesn't lie. The stats are very, very good in regards to it. And yet there's people out there that want him to throw more interceptions and want him to be something they said that he was, and clearly he isn't. Have you seen this before?
I mean, there's just a lot of crap out there. Like, it's a lot of people who just don't like him, never going to like him, want to pile on him, and they see head coach gets fired. Oh, Caleb's a coach killer. OC gets fired. Caleb's an OC. Like, no, like if you're watching this, the cool thing is I think people in Chicago know better, unless you're just like, you just same thing. If you hated him, they're never going to like him, whatever. Like, that you do you. That's fine. But like, and Caleb understands too. Like, I think he knows that Chicago has his back. Even from like a media perspective, I think he knows well that it's nobody locally that's crapping on him and saying like there was this a complete false perception of him a year ago going into the draft about him being Mr. Diva and superstar persona and this and that. It was never that. Like, that was never going to be Caleb Williams. That's not who he is. And when you get to know him, like, you really appreciate. Like, I've been blown away by him. That kid does not have a bad day. Like, he's always got this great personality going with him, always upbeat, smiling, happy. He's a great team. He's just a great kid. And I didn't know what to expect of him at all going in. Like, a year ago, I was doing my due diligence, talking with people close to Caleb and who played with him, coached with him. What's he like? What are the Bears getting with him if they take him to one? Like, unanimous, like raving about him. Yeah, I talked with I'm not gonna say a name, but like this guy who played with Caleb, transferred out, who was one of his former teammates. I thought this might be a guy who, like, if anybody give me the real stuff, it'd be him. Said it's the best teammate he's ever had, and like he checked all the boxes pre-draft. And adversity is such a great teacher, and it's such a great test, and he passed every bit of it. It was a miserable season for the Bears. Not his fault, but it was just a miserable season for the Bears. And he had to go through it. He had to be kind of the spokesman behind it because the coach is gone, the OC is gone. A lot of the leaders were stepping up and hiding. He had to put a friendly, happy face on this and say, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to be better in the long run. I admire the hell out of how Caleb Williams handled this all last year. That's off the field. On the field, like, he did everything he could. And you saw the flashes. You saw the potential, everything that says he's going to be a franchise quarterback. He did his part, man. He pulled his end of the rope. They needed to get him protection. They're doing that right now. They needed to certainly get him an offense and a coach who's going to be that guy for him. They got that done. Like, everything's in place for him now where he can take that next step. He maxed out everything in his rookie season. The strong rookie season in a lot of ways. I know it wasn't eye-popping and it wasn't rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels type, but like, he did everything he could last year. Now we're going to see what he has in his second season, how great he can really be. I'm so bullish on this kid. I believe he's going to be a franchise quarterback for the Bears. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm really eager to see where it goes because everything's in place for him now.
Yeah, I agree.
felt it when you said miserable. The way you said miserable, I think, relates to all of us, because I think it was like by week 12, it was like,
oh my God,
how do you keep talking? You know, like, what do I want to say anymore? What is there left to say that we haven't said for 10 years?
I completely ran out of things to talk about, to write about. Once Eberflus is gone and like you realize the change was coming, you had 5 games left. God bless Thomas Brown. He had to go through it all, but like nothing was going to work for this team. You knew this team had checked out. You knew everything was in shambles. You just had to get to the finish line. So it was tough. There's nothing you can really take out of those games. Think about Seattle in that 6-3 game, and there's so many tough moments and bad moments in that season. It's done with. You feel like there's renewed hope, and it's real, and it's justified.
So just to play off of that, did you see the video blurb from Mark Dominic, former Bucks NFL general manager, talking about Caleb Williams over the last couple of days?
No, do I want to?
Well, I just want to play it, and I'd like to get your reaction to it, because it baffles me where this shit comes from, and it's never ending. And this is a former general manager. I'll just play it for you. You can
former general manager, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Emphasis on the former. Here you go.
It's Caleb that's got to change. It's not Ben. It's not the system. I don't think anybody in Chicago was like, we've got a terrible system. We don't know what we're doing.
Yes, we did.
This is the same thing. I sat here. At the
Ben wasn't here, jackass.
The problem I have with Caleb Williams is he thinks it's too easy. He thinks it's too easy, and he doesn't understand how much work it is. And when you go and present yourself as the number one pick, and you decide to take, don't do the combine, don't do anything. Again, I don't have a problem with that, right? If Cam Ward says I'm not doing anything, great, do that, Cam. I'm fine. But you don't compare yourself to Michael Jordan in Chicago, and he did, and that's a big no-no. That means you have no awareness of who you are, or what Michael Jordan meant, or what he was. And to me, that told me that Caleb doesn't have really good self-awareness, and that means that I'm concerned he's not going to be able to fix his problems. Instead, he's like talking about how, well, I'm glad I've got somebody here that can motivate me and get me going. You're not a quarterback, you don't. If you can't do that yourself, you think Drew Brees was never motivated every day he walked on the practice field? He ripped people to shreds in the huddle. And so, to be great, I worry that he doesn't have that element to his game, even though I think he's a fantastic, athlete and a talented quarterback. I worry that that's never going to come to fruition.
You got to shuffle a new GM in there to talk.
Yeah.
The GM shuffle is necessary.
There's so much there, and it's all stupid as hell. I mean,
right, and it's why he's been out of the league since 2013. Let's be honest.
I like the fact that my favorite part of it is that he said Caleb compared himself to Michael, which he never did. Said Caleb doesn't want to be great. Like, if you're comparing yourself to Michael Jordan, you probably want to be great. That's the idea of it.
Exactly.
I don't know where he got that all. I don't know. It's just, there's a term we use in on the score. We have a lot of it's called out of town stupid, and it's when somebody's kind of just not knowing what the hell is going on and not paying really attention, just kind of making stuff up. Like,
there's a lot of in town stupid, Chris.
Well, there's that too, but yes,
we listen to it. Yeah, it's like I said, we see it all the time. I know Phil brought it up, but it drives me insane. This kid needs to take more chance. When he was in college, it's too much hero ball. Can he change that in the NFL? Then he comes to the NFL, throws 6 picks, and now he needs to take more chances, Kurt Warner says. He needs to throw more picks. And if he threw 12 picks, what would the narrative be on him? He's got to cut those down. Hero ball doesn't play in the NFL. It's just he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And I don't think he gives a fuck. That's the best part about it.
He really doesn't. You're exactly right. He really does not care. He does not give a damn. He's as media savvy of a player as I've ever seen, and that's as a rookie or a veteran. Like, he did media training like in high school and college. Like, obviously in college it's a different animal, but like he's so polished. He doesn't pay attention. He doesn't care what anybody says about him. He tunes all this stuff out. And he truly just values his inner circle, which is family, close friends. Certainly teammates, people around him in House Hall, and this inner circle that he has that's really kept him in check and guided him through tough times. So he doesn't care. I doubt he even knows who Mark Dominic is, but like, he doesn't care. People are going to keep saying things. There's one way to do it. There's one way to change that. The ultimate deodorizer, that's winning. And Bears are in a much better position now to do that with Caleb Williams leading the way. So, if you win games and he has that type of strong second season, nothing bad's going to be said about him.
Chris, how do you think that this plays out at tight end for Chicago? Do you think that they're looking for somebody to be more than Cole Kmet? Do you think he's still going to be a big part of this going forward, or do you think that could potentially be the surprise move that not a lot of people are talking about?
I think they're going to revamp that room around Cole Kmet, and I'm curious to know if Ben Johnson sees him as more of a U or Y type. Like it's there's a lot more you can get out of Cole Kmet. There's no reason that guy in the damn prime of his career should have his numbers dropping the way it did, and there's not getting him the ball over and over again. Ben Johnson's background before jumping in as an OC was as a tight ends coach. 3 different stops. He's worked with tight ends. He knows how to maximize them, both from a position coach standpoint and obviously from an offensive scheme standpoint. I think Cole Kmet's going to have a really strong season with Ben Johnson. That's going to be great for him to have. But they're also going to be building around this. Like, they're not going to value that 3 receiver as much as they will have in multiple tight ends and a bunch of different options around DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. So I think they're going to be looking to sign somebody. I think our buddy Dan Weeder put out Durham Smythe as an option. Like, that's somebody who obviously makes a ton of sense. I think they're going to be looking later in the draft too. If they got their eye on somebody day 2 or day 3 who might jump out at them, deep in that position, like, you can get so much value out of the tight end position. The fact that you're paying Cole Kmet that much money, just refusing to use him, blows my mind. Like, he's a very good player at this position. He can be one of the better tight ends in football. I'm curious how Ben Johnson views him as a pure target in the offense. We know he's a great blocker. We know what he can bring there. I think they're going to really reimagine that entire position. You're going to have a bunch of different guys around Cole Kmet this year.
That's important. I felt like Cole really needs to get focused on his craft. Watching him run routes was honestly high school level pathetic. Rounding routes, not working at the stem like he should, and separate. That's why is Kittle so good? Where he separates at the stem. Same with the what's his name in Kansas City?
Kelsey. Yeah.
Kelsey. They separate at the stem. He needs to work harder, and I'll put it out there 100% on him. You got to be the leader of the locker room, not the guy doing podcasts. You got to go out there, set the tone, and separate with your ability to block. I mean, I was down on the field. I'm with you, Chris. I know I'm very hard on Cole because Cole is a huge human being. His hands, his size, his athletic ability is there. This kid should be jumping rope and getting those feet pitter-pattering so he can be the best tight end the Chicago Bears have ever seen. He has the God-given ability. Does he have the drive? I have not seen that. And that's that's what I want to see. And Ben Johnson is going to have 4. He's going to need 4 tight ends. So you're going to have to get him. Go ahead, was what you're going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I agree with what you're saying. I think he has the drive, and he certainly has a lot of people around him. You know, he values those relationships. The 2 guys you mentioned, Kelsey and Kittle up there, Greg Olsen, who had to maximize his career after being traded away from the Bears. He has a lot of influences and guys who have tried to shape him as a tight end, or guys he's really values their input. I'd like to think there's a next evolution. This isn't a good excuse, but I think there was just a lot of frustration from last year. Not like outward, but it boils over, man. When you talk about the route running and whatnot, like when you focus on these pristine routes and your team has lost 8, 9, 10 in a row and you're just not getting the ball at all, like, it's human nature to be frustrated.
That's where I want him, Chris, to step up. I
think it's there. Like I think it's still there. I think it's gonna be a really big year. I feel like throughout his career, we've been talking so much about Cole Kmet as maybe there's this potential for that. Like, this is going to be the year we really found out what he has, because you got a coach who's going to value the tight end position. And ideally, you're having success this year where you're building things offensively and getting that identity in place. This is going to be the year where it's make or break for Cole Kmet. And you see whether he can be a premier tight end in the league.
You're 100%
there, and that's it.
You're 100% right. This is it, Cars. This is Cole's. Cars predicts, and this guy's gotten it right several times.
I'm also divorced, so I don't do everything correct.
He's
right.
Looking
so it's
at Tyler Warren being the guy at 10 with the Bears pick. And that I can't say you're wrong. I really can't. Obviously, we're gonna see where it goes. I didn't hear about Weiderer talking about Smythe from Miami. There's a connection there.
I think he tweeted earlier. I saw it in passing, so I've not heard that, but I trust Dan just about as much as anybody on this
Yeah, I
beat.
love
So
Dan.
This is Emma just trying to get another Notre Damer in Chicago. Come on, guys.
I mean, can't have enough, right? Can't have enough.
We should have had Brock Wright.
Yeah.
Should have had him.
Bring him in. I mean, what's Anthony Fasano doing these days? I think he's a free agent. So John Carlson, Kyle Rudolph.
They can,
like,
they
why
can
the
trade
hell
for
not?
they can trade for
Mike.
Michael Mayer. Yeah.
Michael
Tight
Mayer.
end. There you go. Another one. Tight end you.
We
That's
could get
it. We're
Michael
going.
Mayer. I'm
We're going
all
7
in
tight
on
end.
Michael Mayer.
We're going 7 tight end, guys. We're just gonna do crazy stuff. 7 tight end and a center.
7 Notre Dame
We'll
tight
do
ends.
it.
Yeah.
Just give me a guy that separates in that seam route. One of the best throws of the year is Caleb hitting Cole Kmet in the seam against the Lions. Just and then again with Keenan Allen. People forget these. I mean, this is a rookie making these throws with a shitty team surrounding him, just doing these things. And it's just, I'm with you. I'm so excited about Caleb Williams. I really need to see where Ben is. I mean, we're not even at free agency, and you got two new.
That's what I wanted to
amazing pieces.
say, and I know you brought his name up earlier, Phil, but
yeah,
Chris, you can speak on this. You know that Michael Silver put out the reports tonight that the Commanders are trying to trade Jonathan Allen, and if they can't get a suitor, they plan to release him. Is that something that you think that the Bears are going to be involved in?
I think they could, but ultimately, it feels like when you get the idea of a release is in play, it trends that way. Like it's just the league passing on it. We heard Adam Peters last week at the Combine straight up saying, yeah, they're looking at that trade, and that's something that's on the table. So, yeah, I think it's in play. I think it make a ton of sense for the Bears in a lot of ways, but there's also a lot of good options in free agency next week too. So if they do a trade, it won't be much, conditional day 3 pick, that kind of deal. But
yeah,
why not? I think a fire on him.
Yeah, let him. Then you're not negotiating against anybody else. It doesn't count against the compensatory, picks and all of that. I just think, it's something that they definitely need to look in.
This is a little bit of an aside too while we're at it, guys, but we've seen the last couple of years with NIL becoming more prominent in the college game, the draft becomes lighter. It's not as deep. And this draft, there's only a few elite guys. There's a lot of good starters. There's going to be a steep drop. There's some intrigue in day 2, those middle rounds, but day 3 is going to be whatever. Ryan Poles has been ahead on this trend. Like he sees that there's just not a ton of value in those late round picks. He's willing to trade them. He has been trading it left and right. I admire that. You'd rather take a guy who's somewhat of a sure thing, a veteran trade acquisition. And now we've seen it with a couple offensive linemen. We saw with Keenan Allen for a 4 last year. Ryan Poles is not going to value those late round picks because he's, I think, ahead of the curve on this, where he knows it's going to be a lot of guys who are you can get as an undrafted free agent to those late picks. So I appreciate the way that he is using those late round picks to make these kind of aggressive moves and to reshape the roster that way.
I 100% agree. I was on with Adam Rank on his show, and I was talking about just this. The odds, and Cars being here now could probably pretty up the statistical odds. A 6th round pick this year, the odds of that guy being a guard picked in the 6th round, going in and starting at right guard for the Chicago Bears this year are probably 15 to 20% shot. And I'm probably way high, right?
Maybe,
right?
Yeah.
Cars? Way high.
You're talking less than 5. Like for what you see, there's nothing I think that has been more overvalued than Bears fans than 4th round and later picks, right? It's just the way that it works. Because for every Terrell Davis, there are, hell, just pick out any Jerry Angelo pick after the Tommy Harris years, right? Of just like where we're going. Or what was it, a couple years ago when they loaded up with Simmons in round 7 and they had Jatiri Carter and another. you just don't. It just doesn't happen. You get
Latavius.
lucky every time. Yeah, Latavius, thank you. You get lucky, but it's like
Forgot about
it's a-
Latavius Simmons.
It's I can't remember a lot of
Arlington
things.
Hambright.
Yeah, Arlington. There you go.
Colorado.
That was in that draft, right? It was Arlington. I mean, it was a lot of names.
Didn't they actually trade him to like New England or something at some point?
Sure, we'll go with that.
So,
yeah.
They also drafted that kid from
Sounds
Arizona,
right-ish.
San Diego State, right? Zach
Frazier.
Thomas? Zach Thomas.
Zach Thomas.
Yes, Zach Thomas.
Zach
Yeah.
Thomas.
Where you get Frazier from? Yeah, it's exactly.
Frazier.
Oh, we
the
should
other
have drafted
West
Zach
Virginia.
Frazier last year.
Yes, we should have
That's what we should've
drafted
done,
him.
yeah.
The center.
I mean, like, look, this is what we're talking about, though. Like, the amount of just like random late round picks where you can. I appreciate that Ryan Poles understands the real value of these picks is as a trade chip and getting a guy. Maybe you're just getting a guy who's going to be released in a few days, but you're getting the guy. Like, it's something that Ryan Poles has done, which I think is a smart move.
No, 100%. Cars is right. I had many a DM from Bears fans and TTNL patrons like, we're giving away all this draft capital. I'm like, what? We're essentially you're giving up a
we get an
fourth
all-pro.
next year. You got an all pro. You aren't getting a. We'll see where that fourth round pick is next year. You're getting a 4-time all pro.
Well, they hate Ryan Poles because he doesn't draft well, but they want him to have more ammunition to draft.
Exactly.
Right?
You can't. For every this guy's talking about Henry Melton. I believe he was a 3rd round pick, so it doesn't apply here. 4th and back.
He was a 4th, wasn't he?
Was he a
was
4th?
College running back at one
Listen,
point.
if you ever get feeling too positive about the Bears, you go to drafthistory.com and you look at every draft pick that we have made, and it will. Henry Melton was a
4th round pick in 2009.
There it is. 4th round out of Texas.
College running back.
Switch to D tackle.
But for every Henry Melton, there was a Kirk Barton, right? Like, oh, we got our future tackle in the 7th round out of Ohio State.
Jerron Gilbert, Joaquin Iglesias, Michael Okwo, the Lance Briggs replacement at one point.
Oh God, we couldn't even draft tackles in the 1st round in my lifetime, and now we're gonna find replacement guards in the 6th. Like, come on.
The funny thing too, the Jackson pickup, that was the pick that came back for Justin Fields, and like
correct.
So many people were looking at Justin playing early on in the year, like maybe they'll get that into a 4, and like before he can even hit free agency, they've already flipped that pick to a starting guard. Like that's turn that into something valuable pretty quickly.
Yeah, never forget Joel Iggy
Abuniwe.
Yes,
that was the year I was screaming for Josh Sweat in round 4.
Yeah.
I know we could have had Tayo Fabulje again.
Fabulje.
Yeah.
Fabulje.
What about Taco Tuesdays with the 7th round offensive tackle?
Jamarcus Webb.
Marcus Webb. Yeah, Taco Tuesday.
That was actually a good pick. He had potential. He is nuts.
So, Chris, if you can't pick Drew Dahlman as your out of the gate signing for the Chicago Bears, who's going to be the big money signing beyond Drew Dahlman, if you were to guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd start pivoting to the pass rusher spot at that point. I would be willing to look at Josh Sweat. It's funny you mentioned him there. Like, I'd be willing to make that move. And that's going to be a big investment. He's going to have a major market. Mack is obviously the lesser play because it'd be a shorter term deal. I think he could make it incentive laden and really set it up to be structured to not really jeopardize your cap, but they better be in a Josh Sweat. I mean, that guy had a hell of a year. He's a young player. He's somebody who could be a cornerstone piece for this team for a while. And when Ryan Poles talks about you can't have enough pass rushers, like, don't worry about, well, what if Austin Booker becomes that guy? Like, you want 3, 4, 5 pass rushers deep where you feel really good about that rotation, playing next man up when you need to. So, Drew Dahlman's going to be there, but I want to see them going after a bunch of these guys. Like, this is people roll their eyes talking about off-season champions, whatever. But like, this team needs to have a great off-season and needs to have a strong free agency. And free agency is the way you work around bad draft picks and struggling to solidify the roster that way. That Ryan Poles and every other general manager out there wants to build through the draft. You have to hit on those damn picks too, and you got to hit on those late picks. That's a key part of it. Ryan Poles has not been able to build this roster through the draft, but he's got the cap space. He's managed that accordingly. He's really worked the books properly after resetting that when he came in. This is the time to go after it. Here's another name too. Joey Bosa just got released, so there's another pass rusher out there for you just now. Like, so there's going to be options out there, but they've not been able to bolster this pass rush under the watch of Poles. They had to go out and make the aggressive move for Montez Sweat. And by the way, don't write off Montez Sweat either, because that dude played through so many damn injuries last year.
Yeah.
He's going to come back and be Montez Sweat again in 2025. But get aggressive as you can to get as many of these star pass rushers in there and guys who you see rising up and who can be key pieces for this team. So, I'd be looking aggressively in the pass rusher market, and I'd be really disappointed if they didn't go out there and get somebody big.
Do you think that they're going to look more in free agency or more towards the draft and finding another wide receiver? Because obviously Keenan Allen's not going to be back. We'll see what, Tyler Scott and all of that brings, but bringing in that third guy for Ben Johnson, how do you think they're going to approach that?
I think through the draft. I think they're going to be looking to the middle rounds in the draft. And it's not a supreme need where you need to get overpay for somebody in free agency. It'd be nice to have another reliable target. They'll probably sign somebody. They'll sign maybe one or two guys there, like the bottom end of the market, a receiver. But I'd like to think you're drafting somebody who you can pair with Caleb Williams, who can be a developmental prospect, learn through this offense, and be a key part of this potentially in the long term. So, and that's where Ben Johnson's voice comes in. Like, Ryan Poles has not done well at drafting these receivers. Obviously, Rome Odunze, I think, is going to be a very good player, but Tyler Scott has not developed. Obviously, Velus Jones just was never that guy. It'd be nice to see Ben Johnson's influence saying, like, banging the table, saying, this 100%. Is the guy we got to get here. Middle rounds, late rounds. That's where I want Ben Johnson to be raising his voice. I thought it was cool hearing from Dan Campbell last week, and he was talking about he empowers all of his assistants to be the guy saying, this is somebody we need to get. Like, this is the prospect here. He's like, look, not everybody's willing to do that. Like, a lot of guys don't want to raise their voice. They want to sit in the back of the room and give their opinion when they're asked. That's human nature. It's like Ben Johnson's not that guy. Ben Johnson, whether he was an OC or a young rising assistant, was the guy saying, this is somebody we got to get. And that's going to be imperative in the Bears draft room. So when you're talking about those middle rounds, where it's going to be a crapshoot for a lot of these picks and a lot of these spots, I think that's where Ben Johnson could have a major impact for the Bears. And be nice if you're sitting there and talking to a couple years, saying, we'll go through that list of mid to late round picks for the Bears, like talk about some of these success stories and say, man, that's somebody that really got right in 2025.
They have not got right the slot receiver. Maybe Bobby Ingram. I'm talking about a gray. Obviously, you look at Ben Johnson and you see, okay, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's the guy that works the middle on top of, obviously, the tight ends and creates big plays. And I'm looking at this draft. Tyler Scott, I don't know what he is in regards to Ben Johnson. I hope he gets a shot to see. But in this draft, is there anyone you have that can be a receiver target for the Bears in regards to this? I have a sleeper guy, but I didn't know if you heard anything down at the combine or was any love there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm just not there yet. I've been more focused on the free agency side. I've not dove, entirely deep into the draft yet, and certainly not to the late rounds. So, who's your sleeper guy? You mentioned that. You got somebody in mind?
Well, he's talking there's two guys. Restrepo, obviously, a lot of people talking about him. Just the story and the work ethic alone, that matches what it is. Amon-Ra, a guy that's going to, I call it Wayne Corbett, his way to a reception. Like, his body is nowhere.
The guy that they're connecting to the slot in Chicago is Rome Odunze now.
Yeah, I don't
see the big slot. Yeah,
that's just like Cooper Kupp. That's just like Godwin. That's the position that they're looking at him at right now.
I don't know, guys. I love Rome. Listen, if it happens, that'll be tremendous. I think he has. I don't see that in his game just yet. But my sleeper, remember this name. I think people maybe know who he is, but Efton Chisholm out of Eastern Washington. This we're gonna do a tape breakdown on him on the tape.
That
Never
sounds like
lies.
some sort of. It sounds like something from the medieval times. Like, you know, we went to the
Yes, I
castle
don't
of
know.
Efton Chisholm, and
All you
He is
need
a
to know is
lord.
if Phil loves him. He's 5'7", white
And-
guy, runs about a 4'8".
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Let me tell you.
Oh,
This
look at
kid
that. Let me
is a motherfucking. He is a route runner, tough at a punt returner.
So he's like a
Listen.
Daniel Braverman type, is what we're
No,
hearing.
this
It's-
guy is.
God.
I think
Another
he's
Sorry.
like
pick
5'11".
there you go.
Sorry.
I love
Number
Daniel
right.
Braverman.
Jesus.
Listen, I wish he got a better shot.
Yeah, that's all I needed was another shot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm putting it out there. Efton Chisholm.
He did need another shot. It just happened to be the one that Captain America got.
Can
that
you
made him
imagine
bigger
in
and stronger
Chicago
and
how
faster.
bad they would butcher that fucking name? I mean, they still can't say Urlacher all these years later. Can you imagine where they'd go with Efton Chisholm?
I'm more thinking about like training camp when like he's making
The
a couple
third.
plays in their minds, and then God forbid he gets a touchdown in the preseason. Like everybody's like, yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah.
The Devin Aroma should do.
Oh my God.
He's 200 pounds, guys.
Tanner
I
Gentry
love
2.0 right there.
Yeah,
There you
Tanner
go.
Gentry, right.
It's like a
I can-
Cooper Cup type of, but he's faster.
I can
Let me
hear the
just tell
radio
you.
call ends now, and I'm looking forward to it. Watch it.
Oh,
listen.
you don't remember the days of Steve Stenstrom to Kenny Christian in preseason?
What was
Don't you remember those guys?
what was the receiver that Gruden loved? And he was on the Bears from Ohio State, the undrafted kid. What was his name?
Oh, shit.
Sensenbacher?
Yes.
Dane-
Dane
Dane.
Sonsenbacher. Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dane
Look at
Sanders
you.
back. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
that's a fantastic Gruden. He's got a
Dane
hung.
Sansenbacher.
Got something about him, and you're like, no, he doesn't. No.
Look at this
He's
guy.
got nothing
Look
about
at
him.
this guy. He carries himself in a certain way. You got to have a Dane Sansenbacher about you.
Sure, he got tackled by a guy. He's going to lose his head because he weighs 127 pounds. But look at him. He's a guy you got to have on this roster.
While we're on this, I encourage everybody to go check out Kyle Brandt's little rant about Cam Scatterbo from a couple days ago and talking about who not to compare him to. 'Cause it's amazing. He mentioned, I'll give you a couple examples of who he didn't want to compare to. It was like Mike Allstott and
Yeah.
all down Peyton Hill. It's a great rant. So I highly encourage you to find that rant because nobody can rant quite like Kyle Brandt.
Do you know the last
Eight
white
grand
running
fighter.
back to rush for 100 yards for the Bears?
Yes.
Oh,
Brock
come
Forsey
on.
do it?
Who was it?
Nope.
Who'd you say,
Brock
Chris?
Forsey?
Yes.
That's it.
Yep.
Brock
He
Forsey.
did. Brock Forsey.
There
I
you go.
thought he was going to go Brad Muster.
I was either going to go with him or I don't know. Start looking at like the roster in the 60s or something. But yeah, Brock Forsey had a couple of good games.
Yeah.
What was Brad Muster? What year? He was a first round pick out of
Yeah,
Stanford.
Stanford.
Right?
Yeah.
I still remember being so disappointed that day when they picked him. I'm like, what?
He was too big of a white guy for you to like him.
23rd
or-
23rd overall.
Oh, he's too tall.
Too tall like a tight. Chris, we there
I
used to
am
be a guy
dying
who used to say
inside,
that
Kyle.
argued that if you are 6'6" or taller, that you are too tall to play quarterback or
Yes.
tight end. There is
Yeah,
such a thing. that is-
Trevelizer 2000.
1988, Chris.
Oh my lord!
from
I was on
1988.
-2.
That was
Yeah.
my freshman year of high school.
What, you were -2. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go hit my senior community bingo night at this moment.
I'm with you, bro.
Ah.
I'm AARP proud right now.
Oh, I
yeah,
get
you-
those. I get those letters quite a lot now. I'm getting
Yeah,
really
you
excited.
start
to
getting
go
We're
to
getting there.
Grand Slam breakfasts or Grand Slam dinners at 4:30 in the afternoon.
When your wife is saying, Phil, you got to use your discount. You
Yeah.
keep forgetting it.
But you don't have your bifocals on to find where your discount card is.
Yeah, where is
Right.
it? Where's my AARP card?
I hate
Oh,
getting stuck
that's-
behind guys like you at Home Depot doing that same exact thing.
Listen, you guys make me very tech savvy, so I take care of myself. I don't like to cause any delays in lines, lights, anything. I got to get out of there, get going. Speaking of get going, do you have to go, Chris? Are we keeping you too long? I don't.
I would say no, but my computer's about to die, so I'm on quite literal borrowed time here at this point.
Before we let you
checking when
go,
it can drop out on me.
one last thing. Is there any show you're watching now that people should be checking out? Any good streaming?
I mean, this is the time for me now, like January, February, and early March, where I'm able to stream this stuff. I've gotten out White Lotus. I'm on the White Lotus kick.
I'm there.
Oh,
I'm all caught up. Yeah, it's crazy. Did you
Did I
watch
jump on Severance? Everybody's on Severance. Is that good?
I
have
have
not seen it.
watched the first 2 episodes of the newest season. It's awesome, but you got to let it build up. I don't like when they keep wait till next week. I like to be able to watch everything through if I feel like it. So I just let them build up. But Apple Plus is outstanding if you don't have it. All the shows on there.
I'll tell you one that I watched that I liked, which was Monarch. If you like the Godzilla series,
Oh,
it's
it's
like
awesome.
everything that built up to how the organization came to find it. Fantastic little. If you're a nerd and a geek like me that enjoyed that, it was a great show.
Bro, I love that show, by the way, too. That's also on Apple Plus, Chris.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I dumped apples, and maybe I got to bring it back. Try those ones. Severance and is it Monarch?
Yeah,
Monarch of. There's several. One of the best written shows, obviously Ted Lasso. Have you ever seen it? That's on Apple Plus. You got to watch that.
I'm giving that a run. Yeah.
But The Shrinking is a comedy, and it's so well written. And Harrison
I
Ford.
started that and kind of stopped in it, so I got to give it effort. That's good though.
Oh, that's great. And Silo is probably the best show on there.
All right.
Righteous
selling me an apple
Gemstones is
here.
getting ready to come back too.
Hey, text me your username and password. I'm going to jump in on that one.
Well, I use Bragg so for HBO. I don't think you can share.
Why
your
am I not
username on
shocked?
Apple Plus.
Yeah, why am I not
We'll
shocked?
figure it out.
Well, you got to check it out. And if you're not checking out our guy, Chris Emma, go check him out on his socials at CEmma670, as well as check him out on 670 The Score, our boys over there. Tell my guy, Mark Grody, I was asking for him. Love that guy. You guys should have your own show on that network. It would be the most sensible show on the network and maybe hit it out of the park with the two of you.
If it was anything as stupid as our text back and forth, it'd be a hell of a show. I'll tell you that much.
Brody's got to bring his podcast back when he was talking about Twinkies for 45 minutes and corn chips.
I'll tell you this. I didn't mention this on air last week, but I did dinner. I always do dinner with Grody at the comment. You're just us, and we kind of catch up on everything in our work lives and social lives and whatnot. And we sat down at a restaurant in Indy, and who's right next to us but Shane Waldron. And there's a lot of people you want to see and a lot of people you want to catch up with, but there's always like the guys who get fired and you just know they don't really want to see you. And he's a wonderful guy. I said hi, shook hands, how you doing? And there wasn't a lot to really catch up on. And so I was like, Brody, look who's right next to us over here. So it was good. I'm glad he's doing well, landed well in Jacksonville. But yeah, it
makes me so uncomfy.
So we kind of kept some of our talk on the 2024 Bears to a minimum at the dinner table.
Smart move.
Smart move. God.
Grody's facial expressions alone during the
pressers. Yeah, they're the best. They're the
live PR guy. I was getting him so much crap for that. Like, you said any freaking closer to the general manager. Yeah. And I saw that too, as I was there and off to the side, like everybody else was. And Grody and I have, among many bits, Just one where he'll say Bears. He'll look at me from across the room in the press conference room and just go Bears, Bears, Bears. And so I noticed he was right there. I kind of kept trying to get his attention, like Bears, 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 Bears. He didn't take the bait. Like I think he knew he was right in the camera shot, but I was trying to get him going a little bit and make Grody break the internet. So it wasn't meant to be, but yeah, he looked like Pulse's PR guy.
He broke it on our show. Me and Shane were just counting with the fans. Okay, what's Grody gonna do?
I mean, please do, because like we gave him all the crap he needed as well. You guys are more than welcome to it as well.
Well, we love him and we love you, man. Every time you come on this show, man, you're outstanding and authentic. And when we get out to Chicago, we got to get up for dinner. Bring Mark Grody with you as well. Fuck,
let's
Shane
do it.
Waldron.
I don't think he's joining us for this one.
God bless you, man, and all the best.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris Emma, man. I love this dude.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Great
He's always
down to
great.
earth.
Always great.
When Chris leaves, will cars talk? Look at you. You got your own fan club.
Yeah,
of Ruin
well,
in the chat.
we've opened the next 3-hour window, and it's going to be nothing but cars talking about 5th round and beyond.
Guys, my internet's going out. What are you saying? Hey, what?
Go ahead.
Huh? So anyway,
what kind of grout are you putting in that kitchen?
Oh my god, I need this. I need.
He
this
was
to be
shopping
over.
for Steph dishwashers tonight.
Steph dishwashers.
Yeah,
man.
they're the best
They,
on the market.
they have AI and shit. They just bring out. Can I have the China?
No. Now everything is Wi-Fi connected. I get alerts every time. I don't know about you guys. You remember your kids went to that age where they can eat everything.
Oh, yeah.
Will eat everything. Aubrey's in
Oh,
that
yeah.
stage where I could make a 7-course meal and 15 minutes later she'd be like, "Where's my phone is constantly going on. The microwave
Just
is
be
open.
thankful
the
you
fridge
don't
is
have
open."
Just be thankful you don't have a teenage boy.
I mean that's yeah.
It's endless. It is
Yeah,
endless.
these two
All
are
he does is
starting
he
to pick
eats
up
and then
their
he
game.
shits and then he's got to go eat again.
And they fart.
Yep. Actually, if you're looking for a full-time dishwasher, we know somebody that's looking for a job.
We got a bigger strip.
I need to go.
He
No,
could cook. He can cook too. Cars. He could cook your children dinner.
Speaking of people probably not allowed within 1,000 feet of a school.
Angelo.
Angelo will be back. I talked to him today. Did you get to call him, Shane?
I did not.
Oh, you're just a bad friend.
I am. Yes, I am.
He really
you know what?
is.
I'm perfect. I'm perfectly fine with that.
He doesn't care.
He's European, so I said, fuck him too.
That's my problem with Shane, and I'm glad we can finally have this talk, Phil, about like how he just doesn't care. He doesn't put in the effort. You know what I mean? Like he's just always just kind of hangs back on the sidelines a little bit, and it's just
timid.
What a terrible friend. Yeah, what a
That's
terrible friend. Yeah.
We call him a Jack Sam.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? I'm the asshole that's there for my kids every day. You know,
God.
Some people, some parents aren't. You know how that goes.
I mean, and yet your son is still an upstanding young teenager. I just don't understand how that happens.
He is. Yeah.
Very nice young man. Going to high school. Rob Thames, thank you. $9.99. Hey Phil, I can't believe you left David Ruffin off your list of best male vocalists last week. And Shane, why would a team trade for Bajan when they can use a 6th to draft Jalen Milroe?
Because Tyson Bajan's a fucking quarterback. Jalen
There you
Milroe's fast. That's about it.
I'll tell you what, Jalen Milroe is fucking fast.
But he's not a quarter. He is not good.
No.
It's much like the kid from Tennessee last year, right? Where you look at the traits and you're like, if this guy can piece it all together, you have something. But in the history of the NFL, how many players that hadn't pieced the passing part of the position ever really, truly, I mean, Josh Allen could pass, he's taken it to the next level. Milroe wasn't even at all like Josh Allen in his college years.
Exactly. That's what he would succeed at is the combine.
Yeah.
You throw some defense out there and try to fuck with him a little bit, you're going to be in trouble. I'm telling you, I'm an Alabama guy. Cars, Phil, you too. Did you hear anybody complain more about Jalen Milroe all college football season? 2 years ago, even.
You were like bench him then, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's
he's not good.
But someone's gonna fall in love with the traits.
Oh, I will fucking
we fix it.
live
We
on
can
air.
fix it.
Whoever drafts him, I'm just gonna fucking die laughing. If some team is dumb enough to draft him in round 1, holy shit.
Phil, I know you'll
It'd be like having Mo Elmy fucking draft for you.
I know who's going to draft him because it's going to just set Shane's head afire. The Philadelphia Eagles will draft him in the 6th round.
Yeah.
You could just ordain it at this moment that's going to be the move.
now.
Yeah.
That's the move.
Right.
No, I know who they're gonna draft. They'll draft Kyle McCord late, and he'll come into the league, make some plays, and then some team will fucking throw him a 2nd round draft pick. That's how Philly operates. That's what happens with Philly.
But I'm glad someone brought up Bagent because
I love you, Mo.
do you think he's still on the team? Or do you think that they look at moving him for some draft picks? Because you start to get a little worried with the not Tyson factor, the Travis factor.
Yeah. What he did is despicable, to be honest. The father.
Well, just go back and watch Hard Knocks. And I mean, when they promoted it on there. I mean, the dad is looking at the preseason schedule and scheduling arm wrestling tournaments in the cities where the Bears are playing in the preseason to make that a thing. And
then making his son appear.
Well, and then talking to people that cover the Bears and funneling bullshit information. Believe me, bro, you ain't helping your kid one fucking bit.
Oh,
I think Tyson's got talent. Is he going to be a guy that comes in and takes the league over? Probably not. But you're telling me that Mitch Trubisky's been hanging around the league for this long that Tyson Bagent can't fucking do that and end up making $10 million a year as a fucking backup? You're goddamn right he can.
Look at Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
that's kind of that type of player. Right. Yeah, but I mean, like that's the type of player he is, right? He's a great bridge guy into a system. He can do certain things well, and as long as you don't ask him to do things he can't do well, he'll be fine. And the Bears could recoup a pick. And to the earlier point, I do think Jackson Dart's a guy that's going to fly up the draft charts before all is said and done.
Me too.
And so teams are going to be looking. It's going to be McCord, and then absolutely, the Bears are going to start taking phone calls on him because
I'll tell you what, if I was a fucking team that needed a quarterback, I would trade for Tyson Bagent all fucking day before I drafted Jalen Milroe. All fucking day.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Bagent over Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I'm not
serious.
Did you guys read the reports about Shedeur during Combine where it was like
he's too good for the team?
Yeah, like there was an ego that went along with that, and I'm like, the funny thing to me is everything we read about Caleb is what Shedeur is.
Thank you.
Everything.
Everything.
And it's not reported now.
No one's reporting it like that.
Fuck you, Bullets.
They're not saying it because Daddy Dion won't hear of it.
Well,
but even Dion was taking shots at Caleb last year, and the hypocritical moron that he is, his son should be teaching his son to have authentic compassion and just be grateful and gracious for an opportunity. But this kid's worried more. I mean, did you see him at the combine with the diamond necklaces.
Oh.
I'm like, are you serious? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that shit doesn't bother me. I mean, what he's
That's a
wearing and
red
stuff
flag.
like that doesn't it? It is what it is. I mean, you're gonna
It
see
is his
more and more of that.
personality, though.
Yeah, it is his personality, and I mean, he's coming for money, and these kids are gonna have more and more. I mean, these guys are coming into the league with, I don't exactly want to say generational wealth, but I mean, a lot of them are, multi millionaires clearly, and
Right.
Shador is definitely that, but. I think about it daily, how lucky we are that can you imagine if the Bears had, decided to stay with Justin Fields last year and to trade down, and then you're in you are in the quarterback market in this draft? What would you, I mean, I'd be sick to my stomach.
Oh my God.
And if you're a Giants fan right now, and you're hearing that like they're the team that's the threat to move up to number 1 overall.
Oh
and
my God.
It almost sounds like it's expected at this point, Cars.
They're going to draft Cam Ward number 1 overall. I guarantee it.
Well, their OC is from Miami, correct? From the
I
University
believe
of
they
Miami.
brought somebody. Yeah, you're right.
So but you're talking about a team. This is what Ryan Pace did in his last year on steroids, because
That's why I'd still be sick, Swaggy.
Oh, I'd be terrified. But
Oh
you're talking about a team that's going to basically punt on the next 5 years in order to try to give a lame duck coach and general manager an extra year. That to me, Shane, is more than nightmare.
Aaron Rodgers there.
Oh,
well, that's what they're talking about. Aaron Rodgers in play in New York if for whatever reason the trade doesn't go through, but it's have fucking fun. Listen, Malik Neighbors is a fantastic wide receiver. I get it. You sat right there last year and you could have got your fucking quarterback. You could have.
It was a massive and the fact that they were caught on camera saying we have to figure out what Daniel Jones is. Yeah. Then you fucked up by spending $40 million a year. Oh, everybody knew.
Yeah.
But you don't go like, what is this guy? I don't know. Let's give him 40 plus a year until we find out.
That's what Bears fans wanted us to do with Justin. Who is he? Wait, he's gonna figure it out.
Well, Swaggy, I think he must be new here. I don't recognize the name. Maybe not, but he's not.
Because if he was, it would have looked different in Pittsburgh. If he
would have
was
looked different, and he'd have a franchise tag on him in Pittsburgh. 100%.
We would have gotten, if the league believed in that, we would have gotten more than a conditional. What did we get? 6th round pick for him, right?
Yes.
Like, if that was the belief that he was really good and he could have been that, you're not given that. And this idea that give it time. What quarterback figured it out on his 3rd team?
Give it time. Year fucking 5 he's in.
Give it time.
But what quarterback has been like, oh, there he is. It just took, Sam Darnold is going to be the exception, and they're already looking and going, yeah, all the warts are still the warts.
You know what? I think he meant Lamar from Revenge of the Nerds. What was his name?
Swaggy's still waiting for B. Arthur to turn into a fucking athletic Y tight end.
Oh, right? Man.
What was Lamar's last name in Nerds?
Luttrell.
Lamar Luttrell. He's been. He ain't Lamar Jackson. He's Lamar Luttrell. Look, a 2-time. All-Pro.
We talked about it on air, Jared. Chris Emma brought it up, and Dan Weeder was the one that.
What year was Smythe?
He's 28, 29.
Yeah.
So was he like back up to? No, he would be before Cole Kmet.
Oh yeah. Because Cole
Yeah.
was 20.
Who was-
Cole was the COVID draft when the Bears didn't have a first rounder.
That's right.
They had they had the 2-2s and they took Cole and Jalen
Smythe
Johnson.
doesn't have a lot of production, I'm sure.
No, but that's a move that you make. You bring in a guy like that, but it does not prevent you from
Right.
You have to draft a tight end in this draft at some point. The way that this is set up in this draft with these tight ends. And I know you don't have the fourth rounder.
Yeah.
But Jesus, Phil, we talked about the Latchy kid from Iowa, Aronde Gadsden from Syracuse, those guys.
Sound like he called him a latchkey kid from Iowa.
Latchkey
Yeah,
kid, yeah.
that's what it did sound like.
It was, yeah.
I had to
Oh, the
explain.
latchkey kid.
I had to
Is it
explain
Lachey?
what
Is it Lachey or is it
Yeah, it's
Latchkey?
Lachey. His father
Lachey.
was Jim Lachey, I
Okay.
think.
I had to
from
explain
the
to my kids what a
Watch.
latchkey kid was, and they're like, wait a minute. You went to your home at my age without parents there with a key?
Yeah.
I
Imagine.
love Luke Lachey out of Iowa. He didn't have a quarterback, Cars.
He didn't have an offensive coordinator. I mean, they didn't. It's an insult to say that he didn't even have a quarterback. Like they didn't have Caleb and that guy.
Yeah, Swaggy, we're not calling you a troll, or maybe somebody in the chat.
Somebody in the chat.
Bullets called him a fucking
I'm just thinking,
troll.
yeah, but the Justin Fields stuff is played. Just stop making excuses.
Yeah,
for him.
but can you highlight his follow up for a second?
Yeah,
The Steelers got gifted.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is Justin Fields is 25, right, or whatever he is. How old is Russell Wilson? If you're a franchise and you believe in Justin, you're going to give him that chance because he's going to be the guy for the next decade. They
Right.
chose an interim starter. They chose someone else. So, like, he's going to get another shot. He's going to be part of a competition. Where he ends up, I'm going to be fascinated to see.
The Bears and Steelers.
Everybody's
not suppressing-
suppressed.
Yeah, stop.
Suppressing his
At what
ability.
point does Justin Fields become responsible for? Come on, Justin Fields himself said he didn't play good enough in Pittsburgh to remain the starter. He said that himself, but he was probably lying. It's crazy.
Listen, is Justin going to have a market?
Yeah.
And where do you think he goes? Seriously.
He's still a young quarterback. Someone's
Yep.
still take a chance on him. It's gonna be kind of that game of musical chairs of when somebody doesn't have a guy that they really like, but he's gonna be playing for a backup role.
But
I could see him in Indy as a potential, if Indy can't find anybody else to keep up or to compete with Anthony Richardson. I can see him in Miami because they don't have anything behind Tua, and you can't count on Tua for all those games. I can see him in Tennessee, right, where they might need someone depending on what they do. The Jets, I don't think so. Just because he comes from the same draft as Zach, I don't see that being a move. But I think the Jets are going to take the long, long road back. I don't think they're going to short anything.
Bullets is fired up right now with this comment.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Bullets.
Oh, Scottish Bear with the low body blow to Bullets. He's fired up. I don't...
Poor Bullets.
But it's gonna be really interesting. Like it's a player that I'm gonna
well, let me ask Swaggy, and then we'll move on from this. What does Justin deserve to get paid? Give me a number in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Fun. This is fun.
Starting quarterbacks. What's the number that you're starting at? Cars 40.
Oh,
yes.
God,
if you're
no.
hitting and you're starting, where is he? Where is he going? Where's he getting?
While we wait on that, my feel on. Can you throw up that Mr. Englewood question for a second while we wait on that?
I was asking
That's
you.
a ridiculous question.
He's not answering. So you would
Gotcha.
have to do it for him.
Thanks, Swag.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, Gardner Minshew's deal is probably the top of the line, right? That spot starter, 10 to 15 million a year is probably where Justin is.
Look at Mo. Look at Mo. Don't give him shit, Shane. He's right with Cars.
Swaggy, you're making all sorts of excuses. They showcased him. They gave him all that opportunity. The offense looked better with Russell Wilson. So now you're just talking.
It wasn't even close. It wasn't.
You're more. Listen,
it's
fine.
a stupid question to ask what he should be paid, but he's underpaid.
Showcase him.
He's underpaid, but I can't give you a fucking number.
Yeah, and it's a stupid question because you have to showcase him first. Even though you showcased him at the beginning of the season, and all it took was Russell Wilson to get healthy before they decided to go with Russell Wilson instead. But other than that, it's anytime you could choose a 36-year-old broken down Russell Wilson.
Fuck you, Bullets.
It always makes me laugh. What?
Anyway,
you can't talk to stupid at this point.
Anyway,
DJ's burner.
Oh Lord,
that's great. I needed these laughs tonight. Oh my God. Cars on the show. Chris Emma on the show. The Bears have showed up and delivered. Look at this guy in the background. Speaking of delivering, look at him wearing a Buffalo Bills jacket in the back.
Be.
He's focused. Look at this.
He is. Oh, he's pissed.
Oh no, I was listening to something. My bad.
Oh, you don't have to be bad. You were
didn't
gone
say I
for
was-
a little bit. You're
I
back.
don't have to be bad.
Thought the motherfucker was reading his
I'm bad.
taxes. Thought he was reading his fucking property taxes. Focused.
Oh, no, everything's good. It's in Arlington Heights now.
That's what we forgot.
But it sucks
yeah.
because now my kids are gonna have to owe fucking $2 trillion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
it's adorable that you guys think Ivan
Michael
can read.
That's a T-shirt for you, right? Put that out. Fuck them kids.
Oh, Cars.
Is that what MJ said?
Cars taking subtle.
Cars.
Cars back. Cars just gives the pinprick right to the tip of
Yes.
the dick.
It was like,
Oh, you mean this shirt?
there it is. Who you gonna call when you need some stats?
Maisie saw that shirt and she was like, "How do I get that?" I'm like, "You are not. No, absolutely not."
I made
They're
them for the whole
sending it.
family. Cars.
The whole family going to Disney wearing that
jeez.
shit.
Oh Jesus!
Holy shit! It's Cars.
I know that guy. He's a douche.
The edible has kicked in for Cars.
No, not yet. Not yet.
No?
I'll wait till after the show.
Jeff Burton's got a question for you, Ivan. Is the heat broken?
It's a little chilly. There's no heat. There's no heat in the basement.
Oh, is that where you are in the basement?
Yeah.
I always imagined it was like a second floor studio.
He's talked about it like 1,000 times.
No, I've never heard the basement.
No, actually, it was like 50 degrees this morning, which was cool. But then all of a sudden, it dropped like 30 fucking degrees because it's Chicago, and it started snowing. So
Really, it's snowing there.
It's freezing rain we had today. Yeah.
Oh, I had
shit.
snow. Yeah,
It is
yeah,
rain,
with
yeah.
snow. Yep.
It's like 55 and fucking rain here all day today.
I thought it was a Buffalo Bills jacket he was wearing. I was like, this dude's ready.
Welcome to the new member of the show, Bill's Nerd over there.
Bill's nerd.
Another Bills show.
At least,
Vargas is going through mustache withdrawal. That's what the problem is.
growing
know,
it in
That's
tonight.
probably what it is. Like, I feel like I could chalk it up to that. Somebody mentioned it the first day. Like,
You
when
gotta
I shaved.
keep it. You have to keep it shaved until the draft, and you got to build it up for
Why
the draft.
can't he just wear his?
Because the crowd.
Everybody
wants-
misses.
We have to keep the crowd clamoring.
Always leave them wanting more.
Yes.
Okay.
Something Angelo's never quite learned. But
You know,
digress.
Ivan's mustache is better at quarterback than Justin Fields.
Ivan's mustache should have its own Twitter account. I'm fairly
Yes.
confident.
Ivan's stash. Yeah.
Yes, that should be your other
the,
Twitter.
The first thing it's gonna tweet is "fuck Ivan for shaving me."
Yeah. You know what?
We got a bigger strip.
You know why you're cold? Because you got rid of me, you son of a bitch.
Oh, there he is.
We needed that Sarah McLachlan song in the background.
Yeah.
The one that's in the
We haven't
Yeah.
produced a video like that since David Montgomery signed with the Detroit Lions.
That was a tough day for me.
I still remember Maisie. DDP, I'm sorry for your loss. Then Cars comes in, but I'm not.
You dicks.
David's
David's having the last laugh on us.
He absolutely is. But if it makes you
Yes.
happy, Phil, I am now dealing with the monster that I have created in Maisie. So she got a yellow card in indoor soccer because
Nice.
she stopped a goal and she said, "Not in my house." And I was like, "Oh my God!"
That's a yellow card.
They gave her a yellow card.
She got right in the face with the Mutombo wag.
Oh,
so yeah,
Oh,
it
good
was.
girl.
She got in the face.
Oh yeah,
It's the
right in the
best.
face.
She's
So-
a goalie.
Look, I respect it. Like I'm all for
I
it.
love it as a father.
I get why she got a yellow, but like,
Oh,
I don't.
I would
the
be
other day-
proud as fuck.
Oh, we got
I
ice
think
cream.
that
We got
ref
ice
is
cream.
soft.
Yeah,
I
we
think
got
that
fucking
ref
ice cream
is
after that.
soft.
I'm not gonna lie.
Double
That's-
scoops.
How old was the
Double
ref? Is he a
scoops.
kid?
Oh no, he's an old guy. He's like, we don't.
And he's
do
not
this.
proud of your
That's what it
daughter
was.
for
That's
that?
what
Oh
it was.
no. Oh no.
That's what it was. He runs the show. That's what it is. He's an older
Yeah.
dude. He's one of those guys. I'm sure he's one of
He's
those
a
guys like,
John.
not in my house, not on
Yeah.
my lawn. You're not
Get your
gonna act
ball
like
off
that.
of my yard, my
Right,
lawn
exactly.
right now.
That's the type
He's
of
like-
guy we're dealing with.
The Bears are on, and so is Liverpool. I'm watching Liverpool.
I don't. What is a Liverpool?
Where's Claudio when you need him?
Listen, shout out to that though. Rest in peace, Mutombo, who has one of the greatest. Have you ever heard the greatest story about how Mutombo used to pick up women, Phil?
Never.
He used to walk into a bar, look around, and then loudly say, "Who wants to sex Mutombo?" And that is how he picked up women. Is that not the single greatest thing you have ever heard?
What's the sex?
Mo's not a fan of that.
Where was he? Where was he going? Where was he?
Like he would just go to bars, like when he was around, and he's like, "Who wants to sex Mutombo?" And that is all it took.
That's it. He passed away?
Yes.
I didn't know that he passed away.
Yeah, a while ago.
The signature.
So
I'm gonna have to try that.
yeah.
Who wants to fuck the smartest man?
Who
Who wants the sex?
See if
Alonzo
it works.
Mourning did confirm it. So
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Jesus. That's sad though that he's gone. Shout out to Dikembe Mutombo. Him and who he was on Georgetown, right?
with
Yeah.
Mourning, yeah.
With Alonzo Mourning.
Yep.
Oh, did they win it that year?
Nope.
No,
Who
God,
beat
Georgetown.
them? Kansas?
Ooh.
Who was
Who beat him? What
Yeah,
year?
who beat-
What year are you talking about?
the year they went? Was that Danny Manny?
They never went to the finals with those guys.
No, they never.
No?
They never
No.
even made the final four, I don't think, with those guys.
Are you how?
He was too busy getting sexed up.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They had two guys to protect the rim and nobody to do anything else on those teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving the college basketball game.
That probably would have been better. Who wants to go balls deep with Mutombo?
God.
Oh no.
I hope they protect the rim.
Yeah.
Gotta protect the rim. Gotta protect the rim.
There's so many things I'm going to say, but it's my first show in a while, so I'm just going to prevent that from going on right
Bullet
now.
said. Then when he was done, he wagged his dick at them and said, "Not in my house." How but the real question is, how would Bullets know that?
Oh man.
How would Bullets know that? That must be verified.
This is
blue check.
This is fantastic. This is what Bears content really needs to be.
Listen,
That's when Tumbo asked Bullets that question, and this was what Tumbo said to Bullets.
Fuck you, Bullets.
Well, we're on the precipice of free agency. Tomorrow night, we'll be breaking down on our patron offensive tackle Easterly from Minnesota.
Ursery. Yeah, I've had to hear Big Steve and Phil. Yeah, there you go.
Steve.
Big Steve and Phil pronounce like they've put like an L in there. I think Big Steve threw a 4 in his last name. It's They said it like 4 different ways on Draft Bob the other day. I'm like, oh,
You're not.
I fucking love. I love fucking Devitante Urserly.
Ursery.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm the worst. These names, man, they're making them hard on me.
Clip it. Anyway,
the critical drain. What do you take full responsibility for?
He said cars, it's all my fault for where this has gone. So I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Yes.
That's fine.
I agree. Well, the Bears have 2 new offensive guards, and you got to be excited about that. Mohamed Elmi, $4.99, took work off just for today's show. Thank you, Mo. And Shane's taking shots at your football draft acumen. Speaking of draft acumen, Shane is working on setting up a super mock with patrons.
Yes, I'm so fucking excited because these go over.
Don't let Logan do it.
You know what?
These go over so easy.
I'm gonna rent a dumpster and put it in my driveway and just set it on fire while watching that live show, just because it'll be tit for tat. Though, because it's always, can you get on? You got to be on in 5 minutes. Yep, I'll be there. 35 minutes later. Oh, did I miss my spot? I didn't draft a guy. I was gonna draft.
The most important thing is to show up. And then that one year that like 11 people didn't show up, and they're like, "What time's the show tomorrow night?" I'm like, yeah, it was actually. It was
and then some fucking people draft Quiddy Pay.
Quiddy Pay.
Yeah.
Is Quiddy Pay the worst pick?
Fuck you, Bullets.
The worst pick ever.
Was it the worst of the selected picks?
Yeah. Sign-ups aren't available yet, Mo. It's a little bit early yet, but
I think our guy
I would have said this would have been the worst pick, but he was undrafted.
Too long.
Every time we play that, Logan Frost cries a little bit more.
Yeah.
He does. He's trying to build them up, but
the bad part about it was I was reading in the chat some of Logan's comments about it. And I think Logan still thinks he's a restricted free agent. And he's not. Yeah. The Bears can't match anything. The Bears didn't tender him an offer.
Free agent now.
Go anywhere.
They don't want him, Logan.
Yeah.
Maybe he
get
comes
over
back.
it.
He comes back at a lower price.
We love you, Logan.
This Ken Morford, $4.99. Yes, absolutely one of the best trades I've ever seen Chicago make, probably ever, considering his accomplishments. He's talking about Joe Thuney cars. Your thoughts?
You know, it's especially when you look at what they had to give up for him. Yes, he's a little bit older, but the fact that you're not talking about like some of our best trades, the Mac trade, whether you look at Cutler, however you look at it, those involve first round picks. They were really painful to be able to do a dirt trade like this to get a guy.
Almost went there.
Yeah. Clip that because I got to clip myself on that one. I tried to walk right by it too. Thanks for calling me out on that one. Anytime you can make that move, this is a trade you make 10 times out of 10, even in hindsight, because of what you have to give out. I think you may have some argument about like the Khalil Mack trade, not the player, but just where the team was at that point. You go back and you go, maybe I don't do that. I don't think there's any realm where you go back and go, man, a 6 for an all-pro guard. Yeah, I can't go back and make that trade.
A fourth next year. Just.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm mixing up Jonah. Yeah, 4th. That's still a great deal.
It's still a great deal.
Phil's trying to figure out who the fuck that is.
Oh, I know who he is. I know a lot of
Quiddy Pay.
It's Quiddy Pay. Yeah.
Imagine if
4th
Quiddy
overall.
Pay had hands like that. Brian Crow, right?
Those aren't fingers, by the way.
Do you think Abel will be available for one of those second round picks, or will he be gone?
I wouldn't be shocked if he's gone. Like Graham Barton, I think Scottish Bear
Where
shared
did Barton
earlier.
go?
26.
Yeah, he said that 24 to 26. Yeah.
I don't see him getting out of the first round. I say that for me.
I don't think so either, because again, watching the way that Philadelphia just controlled that offense, the defensive line with that offense, you're going to see this happen every year. With every time you see Graham Barton that played so incredibly well for someone who was not thought to be a first-round pick heading into draft season, he might be there in mock drafts now, but no, he'll be gone back third of the first round.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I mean, I forget who talked about it today. It might have been actually on the Hogan Johns from yesterday or 2 days ago when they're talking with Nate Tice. They talked specifically about Gray's Abel because Nate Tice was I would say, very tepid on Dahlman as a center.
Yeah.
And they talked about Zabel, and he goes, now do the Bears want to trade back into the first round for him? And then Adam Hoke said, well, why not trade down and get some extra draft compensation and kind of, try to focus in on an area that he would be. But I like Zabel, but I have to come away with something pretty significant in a trade down package if he's going to be the Bears need pass rush.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll see how they attack it. And
free agency.
I am not there on Josh Sweat at all.
Ain't it so?
I'm not.
He's not a fan of Sweat.
No, I think he's the worst defensive lineman on Philadelphia's line by a pretty wide margin on a team that believes. Yeah, on a team that believes in defensive linemen. Someone who's going to overpay him big time, and I just hope it's not us.
But he's a guy to me who's part of a rotation. It's much like DeMarcus Walker should have been, and we relied a lot too much on him early on. He's a rotational guy, and he's great. It's just like we talk about people wanting Marcus Davenport or Chase Young. They're fine players, but they're not every down players. So you've got to still have other people that are swapping in for those guys. So to Milton, right? Milton's going to start and play and be a consistent guy. You can't say the same for Josh.
But Milton,
I would rather go after Hassan Reddick at this point than I would for Josh.
I'm not even a fan of him. To me, I would sign Khalil Mack on a cheaper deal all fucking day long over Josh Sweat. And then that doesn't restrict you from adding a big time talent in the draft. If it's at 10 or 14, 16, 8, wherever you end up drafting in round one. That's kind of where I'm at. But Yeah.
When we draft Cam Scatabo in the first round.
What about what if you end up in a double trade down situation where you're still in the first round, right? You're not trading out. I'm not saying that, but you're
So
able to.
So how far will we be going down? We'll be going down like this many?
That many. Imagine that trying to grab your boobs.
Moving on.
That wasn't what I was expecting to come out of his mouth. But
now that we're here,
all right, Ivan's done. So back to some football talk.
I think the double trade downs are such a rarity. It's hard to see, but like if you're, I think you can't go any lower probably if you do any sort of trade down than probably like 17 or 18, right? Cincinnati or Seattle. Because the Bears are kind of right at the edge right now of players who would actually have a first-round grade in most years. So you have to get absolutely blown away with what you would get in return. Like you're talking a first and a late second, maybe an early third instead at this point to move back, and you're going to look at a stockpile of picks. It'd be really interesting, but you just don't see double trade backs as much anymore, right? It's not like we're going to drop to 12, then we're going to drop to 20 and just stockpile, even though we all mock draft it to hell and back. But it's just not something you see.
Did Cincinnati put the what did they do with the defensive end from Cincinnati?
Nothing. They put the franchise tag on T.
Higgins.
So what do you think of him coming over to the Bears? Hendrickson.
I like him quite a lot. I think he's same age as what Hassan Reddick is. So I think you give him what he wants.
Yeah,
I mean,
this kid is a creative, high effort pass rusher. When I say creative, he's got many different avenues and techniques to get to the quarterback. And
I mean, when you look at his last 4 years, Phil, right?
He's not
put
he's
in
not a free agent this year, is he? Is it,
yeah, because they put
No,
the tag on him, I thought.
No, Hendrickson's a free agent in 2026. He's got one. I'm positive.
They're going
right?
to have to move him to do all the stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, he's not a free agent. He's got
Isn't
1 year.
it?
Yeah, he's
No.
a UFA in 2026.
He's
so what did he sign last year? He got a deal?
No, he didn't. When he signed, or he did, he signed a.
I can't remember what happened there. Why am
He
I
signed a
doing-
1 year,
1
20.
year.
Yeah.
Okay, so he signed a 1 year. That
So
would
he
be
signed
last
through
year.
2020. No, he signed through
Oh,
20.
an extra
extension, yeah.
year.
He
Yeah.
signed through 2025.
But
There
you
goes
look at
that.
his numbers in the 4 years that he's been at Cincinnati, he's got, I think it's 57 sacks, 17 and a half. It was like 14, 7 or 8.
Drafted by Dennis
17 and a half.
Allen, right?
Yep.
Dennis Allen,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And he's figured a lot out. Cincinnati's got some cap issues that are coming.
Could there be a trade there, Cars?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, at his age, you're not talking about, a first round pick or a second round pick. You're probably talking about a third or a fourth, right? This isn't
right.
This isn't like Metcalf, right? Who's going to get out of Seattle because he's still young and all of that. He's a 30-year-old guy. He's got 1 year left. You're talking about third or fourth round pick, and probably you're going to have to agree to an extension right away. He'll be 31 in this season.
Interesting. Again, huge need. Great player there. Khalil Mack. I thought like he was a free agent because of the tag, but you're right. I just didn't remember the extension.
Because they still got to do, not only do they have T's, they also want to do Jamar Chase's before he absolutely blow up.
Yep.
And so it sounds like, according to Rossini, if they can't get deals done with the two, that Hendrickson is probably, if they can only choose 2 of the 3 to get done, it's going to be the 2 wideouts, and he's gone.
I kind of feel I think it comes with some risk, but you talk about Dennis Allen having the connection to Khalil Mack. That was a long time ago. You talk about Dennis Allen having the connection to Trey Hendrickson, also a long time ago. He's got the direct connection that he just has been working with Chase Young. And I know that there's a lot of risk there, but he's also 25 years old.
Right.
And he's close with Montez Sweat. I kind of feel like that could be their pivot, because I think that there's some untapped potential there. And he worked with Dennis Allen just this past season.
And he had a bit of 5.5 sacks, understanding that that's not the ideal amount, but nothing was working for that New Orleans team.
And it's all going to come down to medicals. If the Bears doctors don't pass him, that's going to trump everything. But
yep.
The more, I guess, bullets in the revolver, or more shots you have at it, the better. So, if you go ahead and sign a guy like Chase Young, and you continue and you sign, or excuse me, you draft another young talent, and you sign a guy that like a veteran journeyman guy, somebody that's not like a less dollar amount hit. Maybe that's the way. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the way. Or you draft two pass rushers in the draft. I just think that because of how bad the pass rush was this past season, you need to give it a huge jump start. So add as much talent as you can to it in every way you can through free agency. If you could find a trade partner that's legitimate, look at that option too, and the draft especially.
I think none of it should be off the table. I'm okay with Josh Sweat if he's not the only move at
I have no
end.
idea why that even is
because everyone's saying no more Chase, no more players named Chase here.
Oh no.
Yeah,
that matters.
But I'm okay with Josh Sweat if he's not the only move, right? I'm okay with Chase Young if he's not the only move. There's a lot of, I'm not going to fault a lot of these unless they go out and they say, yeah, Josh, here's $21 million a year to go rush the passer. I have a problem with that, but I don't think that that's what he's going to go out and get. So we'll see. But there's about 15, 20 different players that if they signed, I'd be like, yep, that's fine. I get it. It's kind of like the Jonah Jackson deal. I get it. It may not be my favorite for the amount of money, but I get it.
Right. And how much is he going to? He's not. I don't think Chase Young is going to break the bank if that's the pivot they. I mean, who's gonna make more in free agency? Josh Sweat or Chase Young? It's got to be Josh Sweat.
Oh, without a doubt.
After the Super Bowl performance,
Milton Williams is going to get. Milton is going to be the one who's going to just be a runaway freight train of money.
Yeah, and he's connected big time to New England, connected big time to Carolina, both teams that have, money. And Carolina seemingly has made the pivot to building from the inside out. He started last year with the offensive guards, and that could be them going. But who knows with Milton? Situations matter. But when you're a third round draft pick, he hasn't hit it big financially. Yeah, so that's going to be a driving force. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that I have a lot of questions about Josh Sweat being a legitimate guy for what he's going to command financially. There's some things there that I like about him. I have way too many questions.
I know it's Phil, you kind of said earlier, what is a Bears thing to do, right? It's to go sign a guy. It's like Phil Daniels or, other people that we've done. We've seen flashes, so now we're going to pay him like he's the sure thing and then sit down, Adewale Ogunleye. He was a good player. We paid him to be great. Phil Daniels, he was a average player. We paid him to be good. The Bears thing would be like, well, he looked good in a limited role in a it's part of a rotation. Here's $25 million a year to go get the quarterback, and wow, that didn't work again. Oh shit.
Exactly. You hope it does. I would be in the Milton Williams game too. Hopefully they are. I know Shane has been big on that. Real quick, wrap it up. These super chats. We're going back to the Mark Dominic, Rob Thames, $4.99. Mark Dominic criticizing Caleb Williams is hilarious. He was the guy who also drafted Josh Freeman and Mike Glennon. Dude knows nothing about quarterbacks. Very good. Very good super chat there.
Anybody fall off like Josh Freeman did? Like he
Oh
put
my
together
God.
two
Kansas
out of 3
State,
years he
right?
was really good at Tampa, and then what, it was like 30. He threw 4,000 yards this last season, and then was done. He was done.
Out of Kansas State, though, I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
Right?
correct.
That was his college. Remember?
So real quick, I just looked it up through Spotrac. The expected market value that they have for Josh Sweat is a 3-year deal, 56.5 million.
It's
It's about
18.
18.8 a year. And Chase Young's not that far different. They have his market value at 17.5, 4-year deal, $70 million.
Which is insane. He
Mm-hmm.
got a 1-year, $13 million deal. He put it 5.5 sacks, stayed healthy, and now that all of a sudden translates to that. That would be insane.
Yeah.
You know they're gonna start spending. James Weston, $10. Thank you, James. He also thanks Chris Emma and thanks TTNL. He appreciates the stream. We appreciate you and your super chat. Rob Thames back, $4.99. Liam Cohen looks like he shouldn't be allowed within 1,000 feet of a school.
Duval.
Yes,
that went over so poorly.
The GM hire there, just I don't get it.
So
he's 20.
The expected
18.
market value for Milton Williams is 3 for 53. It's essentially the same deal for Chase Young. But they're giving. I think he's going to sign more than a 3-year deal. Milton Williams.
Gotta go 4 with him.
He's only 25 years old.
Bill Wagner, $9.99. Thanks, guys. Bear down. R.I.P. Sandman.
Yeah, Chris Sandlin. We're gonna miss him.
What happened to
Jesus?
Oh, it's listen. He's a Reds fan. It's over. It's over for him. He's a Reds fan.
Hey, I'll say this: the Reds are.
Oh, they are actually.
They're a little scary.
Sandlin, I apologize.
Better than the Cubs.
Apologize, Sandlin. Who is Sandman?
Sanborn.
Oh,
yeah.
He meant Sam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was a tribute to Sanborn and Logan Frost because that's where he has his dick buried, is in the sand in Philippines after he saw
the shots fired.
Wow.
James Weston is back, $20. I really want Phil and Shane break down these two players. Break down Trey Wedig of Indiana and Jalen Travis of Iowa State. Cheap lineman, 6'7" round beast. I'm a patron, so I'll see the breakdowns. Well, we could get to
add him to the hopper. Yeah.
Add him to the hopper. Tell you what, the defensive tackle from Indiana impressed me a lot. I will take a look at them for you. Anything else, Shane, for tonight?
No. Let's wrap this fucker up and get out of here, right, Ivan?
Get to bed.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, Bullets.
DJ West, the defensive tackle from Indiana. I texted Shane during the combine, is somebody I wanted to talk about and do. So I can do that, James. I'll have to talk to I'm going to talk to my boy, C. Harold. See if we could do it.
We love you, Logan.
Logan has hope.
He does.
He's home alone. Like
I will
McCollum.
give Logan this. I was surprised. I was surprised that they didn't give him a qualifying offer. I definitely would have if it was me, but I think I wouldn't be so mad at Ryan Poles. I think this is a Dennis Allen decision. And
going to tell you shit in your hat and get the hell off the field.
It's the league. You just don't. If he's your three linebacker guy, you're 20 to 25% of the snaps. That's it.
That's it. It's going to be a lot of interesting moves. Real quick before we wrap out, Adam Rank kind of jinxed this. I wanted to see where you guys saw. I know, Shane, you might have saw it. When the Bears come up at 10, can you see them taking cornerback from Michigan?
Well, Cars, were you here? No, you weren't here. You weren't on yet. Albert Breer threw out a name.
Yeah, Jade, you said?
Yeah, Barron from Texas.
No,
I'm like, what? I would fucking, I would lose my mind. I'll do crystal meth live on air if they fucking dread. I would be pissed if that was their move at 10.
Matumbo.
It was kind of like when you drafted Gordon and you drafted Jaquan Brisker. You like the player, but there's too many other needs. And I get if you're sitting in a place where the best player available is a cornerback, I'm sorry, you got to move down, you got to recoup something. You cannot, and you just can't afford to do this.
If he's BPA and you can't move down,
failed. Yeah,
exactly. You can't take a fucking corner the way that this team is. I mean,
I totally agree.
As much as I'm against the Bears taking a running back at 10, I'd take Genty before I took a corner.
I totally agree with you.
110%. I would draft Mike North style draft Sebastian Janikowski all over again at 10 before I draft a cornerback. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would take the safety from South Carolina. And I'm not going to try to say his last name and butcher that right now. But that's my guy over Barron.
His name was Steve Brown. I'm pretty sure you could find a way to fuck it up anyway, Phil.
No. Let me try to say it. Amenwari.
Try one more time.
Amenwari.
One more time.
What are you setting up? Amenwari.